Depends what it is.
Exactly. That's
Good evening and welcome to Fantastic Dimensions. We are continuing our Hudson and Brand campaign, Cthulhu by Gaslight. This will be the third investigation, I believe, for this particular campaign, and it is called, and just forgive me for any mispronunciations, but I believe it is called Plant a Daear. Yes, there's a lot of Welsh words in this scenario, so I'm just going to apologize to anybody who happens to be Welsh or knows Welsh that watches this in future, that I will probably butcher a lot of your pronunciations. So, when we last played, it was the winter of 1889. You guys had a run-in with the Heligoland Trading Company and their representatives here in their last remaining warehouse in London. That building, of course, is now no longer in operation. It's no longer owned by the Heligoland Company. It was basically confiscated, by the Crown, and an investigation took place after your own encounters there. Mr. Trying to remember names now. Timothy Carver has not been found. It's been several months. It's now April of 1890. So in the past 4 months, they've been looking for him, but he has not turned up anywhere. The official word from the Heligoland Trading Company in Germany is that he no longer works for the company. He is based on the unfortunate events that occurred at their London warehouses. His contract has been terminated, and of course, they will contact the authorities if he turns up at any point. Of course, Heligoland Trading Company is offering their full cooperation to the English government and authorities regarding Mr. Carver and his criminal activities. As you know, of course, his brother was killed, as was the illegal immigrant sorcerer, Dagpo. And another gentleman whose name eludes me at the moment. What was the other guy's name? The bodyguard, or the night watchman, basically. He was arrested. He had turned himself in basically the following day, and also was cooperating with authorities. He basically, his line is that he was just a night watchman. He just was there working for a check. He didn't know anything about any murders or any kidnappings that were going on, et cetera, et cetera.
Didn't he have a name like Salty Pickles?
Huh?
I think he had a name like Salty Pickles or something.
No, his name is Terrence Pegg. I remember now.
See? Same thing.
Salty Pickle, Terrence Pegg, yeah. It's rhyming slang. Yeah, Terrence Pegg. He was held for several days, but then eventually released. He was basically found to presumed to be innocent anyway, not involved in any of the serious crimes that were going on there. So he and his family, if you guys have tried to keep any tabs and look for, I think you did, didn't you? Didn't you go looking for Terrence Pegg after he got released? Yeah, and he had disappeared, right? Mm-hmm. So that's right. He didn't have family. He had he lived alone, and he had a daughter who he corresponded with via letters and such. But yeah, she has no idea where he's gone, and he's basically gone to ground and disappeared since he was released from jail. He no longer seems to be in the city, as far as you can tell.
We have some underground ties with our characters and with our contacts. Is there any way we could have applied them to?
Oh, absolutely. One of them is in the hangout right now. Stanton Renard.
Yeah, I know. Is there any chance we could see if Carver actually is in the city or he's gone?
Yeah, I mean, Stanton, I'm sure you would have asked around, and to the best of your knowledge and any of your sources' knowledge, Timothy Carver nor Terrence Pegg are anywhere in London.
We still have that orphan working for us?
Yeah, he's a regular. He runs errands and messages for you. What was his name? Albie.
Salty Pickles? Yeah, Albie.
I could look back and find his first name or his full name. I can't remember, but it was Albert something. They called him Albie. He was the Wait, was it Albie? Wasn't it the same one that hired you for the bare knuckle?
Right. I think it was Albie.
Yeah.
At this point, if he has been effective, I was thinking that we might try to organize a little group of them. I won't say gang, but like 5 of them, with him being the foreman. And maybe we could squeeze in a little bit of education, sit down and go over some letters and words and numbers. And that way we could get a little more perhaps street loyalty and, raise these little guys up by their bootstraps. You're muted.
Yeah, I don't see why not. You guys have had plenty of time. You've basically been in possession of the agency now for 3 seasons, right? You inherited it in the summer of 1889. It's now the spring of 1890. So could definitely have gotten a small little network, basically, of these street urchins.
Or little birds, maybe?
Yeah, little birds.
Did we get anything back on the translation of Dagpo's book?
Yes, you certainly could have. You had, yes, you had hired a friend of Stanton's. But I thought you didn't in the end, right? You said...
Yeah, we didn't. We ended up keeping it in the vault.
Yeah.
He wanted to take it with him. And
Yeah, he wanted to take it with him. Yeah, and it's an heirloom. So,
so no.
The second thought was to set him up at our place to do the reviews and provide him more than he was expecting, rather than just coin, but actually, food and drink and maybe a little civility and so forth. Again, muted.
I wish I would stop hitting that damn button. Okay. So you basically want to try to convince Stanton's criminal friend, who can translate Tibetan, to work out of your offices, and you're bribing him with food and drink.
To work out of the office, to give him air of credibility, and perhaps lift him up out of the gutter.
Wait. When you say work out of the office, what do you mean by work?
Translate the book.
Okay, so that's all work he's doing.
That's right? The only thing he would be doing there is coming there to translate the book, and then
and we make that very clear to him that there is no other work that will be done out of the office, right?
We would not insult him any more than we already have, and we would be very cordial and offer him that delicious strudel, and go from there.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be possible with a successful roll. Which one of you is going to make the offer, and what skill are you planning to use to convince him to take you up on that offer?
I think that not applying the tools that I have, but actually applying the tools that I have, I would ask Morrow takes a shot at it.
That is doable.
Because she already met him. They met over there.
That's true.
They could work out of her office if she wanted to go that direction as well. I just didn't want the book to leave our site is all I did. That's all I wanted.
That would be perfectly fine. You want me rolled it?
Yep, sure. Go for it. Are you using charm?
I am using charm.
Okay. Work your charms, Alice.
0-8.
I think that's going to work.
I think that's a pretty solid success.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he does it, and he even does it for a relatively fair price.
Tick the box by
tick
charm.
It off. Yeah.
Yep. Don't forget to tick the box. Tick the box.
I'm ticking.
Gosh, guys, give her a break.
Okay.
Just trying to help.
No, I'm not. Just teasing.
If Ruben's finished, I wanted to ask Ruben something.
Hit me.
Ruben,
Ask him.
it would probably be late at night. I'd say I was planning on having. I asked Mrs. Frau Morrow to come over for some combat training with the pistol and saber, and she agreed. And I was thinking of having training here. But I wanted to ask you something else, being that you're a partner. I was thinking of offering her an auxiliary position here at Hudson and Brand to make her more of a part of this organization. I believe that she could bring with her a great deal. She has the assets of a bookstore, which it's like having our own personal library. And we've already seen her in action. She's quite capable.
That sounds very generous, but also wouldn't that potentially make her a target as well?
No, I'm afraid she's probably a target already after our last adventures.
But if not a target now, she would become one in the future. I am 100% on board with her being a silent partner. And have you asked her what she wants?
That's the point. That's what I was about to say. I'm asking you first, and then I would ask her. I would let it be her choice of whether she wants to join our endeavor.
As long as you're clear that there could be inherent dangers and that come with it, I'm on board with it.
I will explain that to her very clearly. And I just think that she would be a very big asset to our endeavors.
Agreed.
Good. So let's have some strudel.
But
other than that, doing in between the sessions, what Zorn would be doing is he's throwing a lot of attention to finding out what happened to Hudson, including going back to the burnt out brothel, so-called brothel we went to see, also checking police records and everything else. What was the last known actions of Hudson?
Yeah, I mean the Colonel Hudson trail has kind of gone. It's gone quiet like 9 months ago, really, like, or even more. Right, they were already missing for 6 months, so it's over a year. Unfortunately, there's been no more real information on Colonel Hudson. The closest thing to any trail on the whereabouts of Albert Hudson would have been when you guys found the body of Brand in the sewers underneath the Hall of Dark Mysteries, which, as you mentioned, subsequently burned down that same night. But yeah, there's been no other signs, no indication as to where he may have gone.
Right.
He is presumed dead. He's been presumed dead now for 9 months. Anyway, that's why you would.
Well, the thing with Zorn is that you probably, there's a point of him that really realized the trail is dead, but there's that other point of Zorn who's like,
sure,
I don't care. I'm going to push through.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yep, you keep on trying.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someday something will come up, but so far still nothing.
Right.
And the greens have been relatively quiet as well. Practically non-existent since that time.
Okay.
And of course, Heligoland now has not operated on English shores in the last several months.
Okay.
Since the
so do we have anything official on the appointment docket for the Bonham and Bursey?
Well, Seth, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about Walter Bursey and how he has come to be affiliated with Hudson Brand?
Sure. So this is we could adapt this in a direction that is more interesting to you. But what I'm thinking is, so he was a student. He was a academic pursuing, the new science of electromechanical equipment until financial reasons meant he had to give that up. He took up driving a hansom cab by day to make money to support himself and his parents. And in that line of business, he drove Hudson and people that lived in Soho around and came to be relied upon by the Hudson and Brand organization occasionally to get about town and maybe help out occasionally where his skills were relevant. So he has some sort of passing acquaintance. Maybe that sort of has tailed off since the change of ownership, but he's a sort of friend of the of Hudson and Brand. He also has a connection with the bookshop, with Alice's bookshop, in that he has ordered sort of technical books through the bookshop and purchased them from Alice, and has a reasonable relationship with her. So I hadn't got much beyond that.
I think that's plenty. And given the recent experiences with Hudson Brand, they already had a coachman who was kind of on call here in Soho, Albert Stafford, who could be a colleague and friend of Bursey's as well. And I think it would make sense that they would have needed to maybe get another one also kind of on retainer, in a sense, you know what I mean? Another potential driver. Because we had plenty of times in the last couple of investigations where they've gone to different parts of town and they could have used a second driver. So someone that they can trust and rely on a more regular basis, and someone who can be discreet when need be.
Excellent.
Is that all agreed, Mr. Carmichael, Mr. Van Zorn?
Absolutely. Of course.
Great. And then Rob, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit? I know we talked a little bit before the hang-up, but just for the record, now that we've got it on broadcast, go ahead and tell us who you're playing and his affiliation.
His name is Gerard Barnum, and he was born to an upper-class family with money, kind of disassociated from them as he became an adult, and dropped out of school and wandered around because he had a very high interest in the occult and the unknown, and went to the Americas for a couple of years. Now he wandered back here because he's running out of money, trying to get some money from his family and find out what he can to satisfy his interest in the occult, the unknown.
Excellent. Yep. And so he's also a regular customer at Morrow's Books, and an associate of Mrs. Morrow, the proprietor of such, who Mrs. Morrow, of course, is also an affiliate, an associate, if you will, with Hudson and Brand. So you guys, I think we'd also said that Bonham would have perhaps attended the reading and the presentation of the book by Wilhelm von Zorn just this past winter. And that would have been a good opportunity to kind of introduce himself to Carmichael and Von Zorn, and become friends with the Hudson Brand agency as well. And given his personal interests in matters of the unknown, the occult, an inquiry agency that specializes in obscure cases would be kind of an excellent place for him to maybe hope to learn more. And perhaps even his own knowledge could perhaps come in handy as well. So,
and depending on how the translation is going with the that book, if it is something that that his expertise would be helpful in, I might have called him in to have a look at that. Right.
So that brings me to the book translation. Since you were able to convince the shady gentleman to work out of the agency in the translation. It's a journal, personal journal of Dagpo's. Most of it is just an account of his journey to London and the strange customs that he's encountered along the way, and particularly in London itself. But also has enough detail of his own bizarre day-to-day rituals to provide a Cthulhu mythos increase to anybody who happens to study it upon reading. And it has some spells in it as well.
Oh, keep them away.
It has, I'll tell you what spells are in it. A spell called Call or Dismiss Shub Nigurath. a spell called Summon Dark Young, a spell for creating zombies, and another spell called Vorish Sign. So 4 spells within. Does anybody, once the translation is finished, wish to study the book?
I would be interested.
And Alice.
I will stay away from that book as far as possible and lock it into a vault and throw away the key and then swallow.
Indeed. So let me just take a look here and see. I want to find a comparable tome just to get an idea as to how long it would take to stay. Yeah, it doesn't take that long, does it? Well, that doesn't have any spells in it, though. This one has, a few spells plus that, and it takes that long, really? Okay. 1 second. I just want to compare it to a couple of different things just to see if they're similar or... here's another one. Okay, that one's only a couple of weeks with only 1 spell, though. And most of the rest of these are all much larger. Yeah, so I'm going to say it will take you 2 months to properly study it and learn the spells contained therein. Now, if you want to do it without learning the spells, you could do it in a couple of weeks. So who's going to get their hands on it first?
Probably Mrs. Morrow, seeing
Probably,
it's
yeah.
translated in her shop.
Yeah.
And she would like to learn it. She would like to read it, but not from the spells yet. That may
Sure.
be something for a later thing. But
Yeah, so you get a basic ideas of his kind of day-to-day rituals and such. You would definitely get some Cthulhu mythos knowledge from it, especially regarding a cult of Shub-Niggurath. And you will increase your Cthulhu mythos by 2 points,
woohoo!
reduce your maximum sanity by 2 points,
Mm-hmm.
and also need you to roll. 1 second. Well, how did I end up? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. That's why. Trying to find the page where I had the information on the journal. Here we go. I need you to make a sanity check.
Okay. 30.
30. That's a success, I presume. Yeah.
That's a success. Yes.
You'll lose 1 point of sanity from the
All right.
experience. And you know the spells that are in there, you know of them, but you don't know, you haven't
Can't cast them.
studied them and practiced them or anything. So,
Gotcha.
right. So that would have taken you a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Not to mention the translation time itself. I'm going to say probably took, it probably took, if he was working full time, it probably took about a month.
Mhm.
So that would have put us into January. So now we are looking at about the beginning of February by the time that Gerard would get a chance to look at it. So Gerard, obviously I know you want to read it. Do you want to also try to study the spells, the rituals contained within, or do you want to give them a pass for now? It's up to you.
I would probably try to read them, depending upon how difficult it would be. After starting it, I might decide to come back to it later, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, like, if you want, you could study them to kind of know how they're supposed to be done, but without actually practicing them. Of course, they
Okay.
have actually tried them at all yet, I presume. So you also, in that case, then it would take you a couple of months. So that brings us right up to April, which is about where we are now in the game. So go ahead and give me a sanity roll. You can increase your Cthulhu Mythos by 2 points.
Yeah, what kind of dice do I roll? Sorry to.
Oh, percentiles, please. Roll percentiles and compare them to your sanity.
For the 100 or
Yeah, D100. Yep.
D100? I'm using electronic rollers.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
You got a 79.
Ooh, what's your sanity?
Let's see here. Let me bring up my character sheet. Sorry.
That's okay. No need to apologize.
All right.
I would have failed.
Mm-hmm.
Sanity. Another newbie question. Where am I going to find my sanity on my sheet?
Should be near the top. It would also be equal to your power. Your starting sanity is always
Okay,
equal.
power. Yeah, I have a 70 power.
Okay, so that's a fail on the sanity check.
Ooh.
So you end up losing 5 points of sanity
Whoa!
from the reading. So go ahead and reduce your sanity by 5 points down to 65.
And that's a bad thing.
Okay, sanity.
So underneath where your characteristics are, like your power and all that stuff, there should be a section there for sanity, hit points, magic points, and luck.
Okay. Yeah, I found the.
Cool.
Okay, there's sanity. So I just circled 65 now. Then.
Yep,
Right?
exactly. Yep, because your score is now 65.
Got
Did you record your luck, by the way?
No.
We can do that now real quick. Go ahead and roll 3d6, and we'll multiply it by 5 to figure out what your starting luck will be. And while you're doing that,
I might have that. Hold on just a minute. I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. I don't want to slow down the game, but
oh no, just your luck. I was wondering if your luck is recorded on your character sheet.
it would be at the top also. Or-
It should be right beside sanity underneath hit points, I think. If you're using the same kind of character sheet that I'm used to.
Yeah, it was the one you referred me to, so I did that
Yeah.
one.
So you almost ran into trouble. If you had gotten 6 sanity, you would have issues.
Oh no, he's gonna have issues.
Oh yeah.
We're getting there, don't worry.
Oh, that makes it a fun game, I guess. Let's see. I'm sorry. I can't find the hit points now for some reason.
Okay.
I see a 70 and a 99.
Yeah,
Right.
70/99. That'd be 70 was your starting sanity, 99 was your maximum sanity.
Okay.
But your maximum sanity will reduce as your Cthulhu mythos increases, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And your current sanity now should be 65 because you just lost 5 points from studying
Okay.
that book.
I got that. Okay, now I see a thing that says out of luck, and that's another thing that's close to what the sanity was, and the numbers there.
There's a number for luck?
The top. Well, no, I don't see a number for that. Just the same kind of chart, goes from 99.
Right, but you don't have a number recorded, right?
No.
Okay. Roll 3d6.
Okay.
3 6-sided dice, and then we'll figure out what your luck should be. Because even the online character generator, for some reason, it never records the luck. I always have to do it afterwards. I think it's just a flaw. I won't complain because it's a free online character generator.
3d6.
If anybody from doleshouse.org is watching this stream, your AutoCalc character sheets do not record the generated luck score.
Yeah, fix that.
Please.
I rolled 12.
12. So 12 times 5 is 60. So your luck is 60. Now, as a couple of my regular listeners and viewers have pointed out to me, I always screw up the bouts of madness. When you lose 5 points or more of sanity in a roll, there's a potential for a bout of madness. And before the bout of madness occurs, you're supposed to actually make an idea roll.
Yeah, intelligence
on the
roll.
idea roll, then you have the bout of madness. I always just automatically do a bout of madness. I don't know why. I just have always done it that way. I just forget. So I'm going to try to do it right this time. So Rob, go ahead and roll the D100 again, and you're going to compare it to your intelligence.
Okay.
And this is to see if you're going to go a little mad or not.
And you do not want to make it. You do not want to make it.
Well, I have 55. I'm not very smart in intelligence, so let's see. Okay, we wanted 100 again, right?
Yeah.
All right, okay. There we go. Okay. Set this. $88. I failed.
Good for you.
Good. So you don't end up having a bout of madness.
Oh, so that's
Because
a different.
what that reflects is that although you came across some mind-bending shit, you didn't really put two and two together, and you didn't completely comprehend it to the point to where it would drive you insane.
So sometimes it's good to be a little dull.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you are probably throwing up in our reading room, though.
What's the old saying? Ignorance is bliss. If you'd like to write down those spells, however, on your character sheet, you should on the second page have a place for writing down spells and such. Or if not, you can just start a new sheet, an extra page, or whatever you want to do.
Would it be possible, perhaps, would I be using them during this game?
The spells, not necessarily. I just want you to have them recorded. Or do you? I can type them to you later.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank
I'll
you.
send them to you in the Facebook chat, so you can record it later.
Thank you.
Just so you know, those are spells that you've studied. All that remains is for you to actually try them if you want at some point, or maybe you don't. Maybe you never want to try them.
Right.
I was about to say that. Let's make it a point of not wanting to try them.
It's entirely up to you, in the But
Yeah, I'll find another group that I'll try this. Go
sure.
sometime instead of running this group. Yeah.
So, okay, that's taken care of, and we're up to April then. Did anybody else want to take a stab at reading the book a little bit? You could have at least a couple of weeks to get through. You wouldn't be able to necessarily read and study any of the spells, but
I have 37 sanity. Okay.
yeah, I know the answer is no for you. I just didn't know if maybe Stanton wanted to have a look, or if who else is there? Well, Walter probably doesn't, but maybe does. You never know. No? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Nobody else wants to read the book. Fair enough. So you can lock the book safely in your vault there. Wilhelm.
I lock it in a safe chest inside of a big chest, inside another big chest, and then put it into the vault.
Right. No problem. You maybe just record somewhere that you have a copy of, well, not a copy, you have the original Dagpo's journal.
Okay, got it. And I put in quotes, never read, never will.
You could also put, if you wanted to, where's Hudson and Brand, page 73. That's where the, just in case you want to have a reference, in case anybody ever reads it, that way I know exactly where to find it. Hudson Brand, page 73. That's where my information is. Cool.
73.
Okay. Any other business anybody else wants to sort out over the winter months and the early spring?
Other than the training of Alice.
Yeah, you're starting to try to teach Alice a little bit. That's fair enough.
And I asked Alice during one of the training. I've been talking to Ruben, and we think that you would make an excellent, more permanent addition to the Hudson and Brand organization. I am offering you an auxiliary partnership.
Oh my.
And before you say yes or no, just know that if you do say yes, you would be taking on a lot of dangers and threats that the Hudson and Brand label carries with it. But I believe you could really make a big difference.
Well, I am certainly very, very flattered that you would ask. However, I do have a business of my own to run.
No, it would not stop you. It would not stop you from doing what you have to do. It was just you would take a bigger say in the day-to-day runnings. And as an auxiliary member, we wouldn't expect you to, pay the lease or anything like that. It's just that you would be one of the main architects of our institution.
I'm very flattered. It seems like my services are more useful as a consultant, just on an as-needed ad hoc basis. But certainly something to consider.
Well, I hope you do.
I
I,
shall.
I think that it would not only benefit just us, but it would benefit all those that we help.
Of course, and my help is available at any time, regardless of the nature of any formalized arrangements.
Of course. Squeeze, not pull. Squeeze, not pull.
Oh yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah, we're waiting for you. Oh, GM,
No,
we're
no,
waiting
no.
for you.
Oh, sorry, I was just choking on my coffee a little bit as you were telling her to squeeze and not pull. All right.
The trigger. The trigger.
I understand. All right. Very good. So it is in the middle of April, and you are all kind of. I should bring up the little thing on my screen. The six of you are all in the offices of Hudson and Brand. Perhaps not all in the parlor, but around the facility anyway. Maybe somebody's out in the gardens, or perhaps anybody wants to be down below in the game room, playing a bit of billiards or such, or cards or something. But there is a ring on the bell, and of course, the ever diligent.
That guy.
I'm trying to remember his name. Markham. Thank you. The ever diligent Markham, of course, will answer the door. I was trying to pull up my image of Markham, and I was just falling all over my desktop and not finding what I was looking for. Here it is, Hudson and Brand. There, Markham. There we go. Good man. So Markham will answer the door, and he walks in back into the parlor with a gentleman, a slim, frail young man with short, straight, dark hair, pale, dry skin. I do have an image for him in this particular module, but I'm not going to share it because it's kind of a crappy drawing. So just imagine, anyway, a very slim, frail young man, short, straight, dark hair, pale, dry skin. He looks rather nervous.
He's a goth kid.
And a bit shy because he doesn't seem to want to make eye contact as he's kind of standing there in the parlor. So Markham will announce him. He'll say, "Mr. Nathan Hardwicke here to see you, sirs."
Sure.
And Nathan just kind of stands there, takes his hat off his head and holds it in his hand kind of nervously. Occasionally looking up at you, but usually then kind of looking back down at the floor.
Do we have an approximate age of this gentleman?
You would say he's probably 20. Yeah, late teens, early 20s. A man, but barely.
We were about to sit down to some cordials. Could we perhaps offer you one, young man?
Oh, no, thank you, sir. I wanted to see if I could employ you.
Well, employed. Do tell. Please come sit down.
Yes, sir. And he'll walk over and looking about the parlor. He'll sit down in one of the chairs on a corner there, kind of nervously fitting his fingers a bit about the arm of the chair. I understand that you solve mysteries. Is that correct?
We attempt.
Yes. I tried to get that Mr. Holmes, but he's always seems to be out of town now. I was told that you were the next best thing.
Quite. Indeed.
Well, I was hoping you might be able to look into a mystery. There's been a murder. It's my uncle.
Okay.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yes, my uncle's name is Colonel Albert Hardwicke, formerly of Her Majesty's Royal Armed Forces.
So why would you come to us and not the yard?
Well, the murder didn't occur in London, sir. It took place in Wales.
Oh, well, I believe they have constables in Wales, don't they?
They do. Well, perhaps I should start at the beginning. See, 2 weeks ago, my uncle told me he was leaving on business and that he'd be back in several days. But then he turned up murdered near a village called Partridge in Brecknockshire 10 days ago. The coroner's report said that he had been struck in the head with a blunt instrument and stabbed several times.
Ghastly.
The only real other information I could get from the local authorities in Brecknockshire is that he was apparently murdered while returning from the village in the late afternoon to an estate in the Welsh kind of wilderness, but that they didn't have any further leads. Now, this estate in Wales, well, it's been left to me as part of his will, and well, it's strange because I didn't know that we owned an estate in Wales.
Okay.
He never mentioned it, never told me about it, and he didn't even tell me that that's what he was going away to do.
What did he say his business was? Why he was out there?
Oh, he didn't go into specifics, but well, I didn't question him. I didn't ask him.
All right.
I assumed it might have something to do with, I don't know, if not financial issues, perhaps something to do with some of his old war buddies or something, perhaps. But no.
So, what do you want us to do, young man?
Well, I'd like you to look into the murder and see if you can get to the bottom of it, because, quite frankly, I don't believe that the constable in Partridge is. Well, I don't think he's very competent, sir, or perhaps he's not very interested. But it's been 10 days, and there have been no further leads. And well, time is very important. I wouldn't want this to go unsolved and just remain a mystery for the rest of my life. You see, Uncle Albert, he raised me. He was like my father.
Very sorry for your loss, and I could see your sense of wanting some closure. We'll gather some details and see what we can make of it.
Very well. Well, I can pay you £2 a day, plus expenses, of course, if you take the case. And well, within the week, I intend to go to Brecknockshire myself to see the estate. So you're certainly welcome to travel with me. I can pay your way there.
Did your uncle have a flat here in London or surrounding areas?
Yes. We live in a modest house in Kensington for my entire life, sir. The last 20 years.
We may need access to the flat.
Of course, yes, and he'll write down the address for you. He says, "Please feel free to stop out. I'll be sure to let Mrs. Jeter know that we may be receiving company. She's the housekeeper, of course."
If I could interject for one moment here, you said you did not know about this estate that was there in this place. Did your uncle have an executor, someone handling the will?
Yes. His solicitor, Adrian Powers, in Baker Street.
Yeah, so I'd very much like to talk to this man.
Yes, of course. He says, "Here, I have a business card," and he hands you a business card for Adrian Powers. The address is on Portman Square in Baker Street.
Okay. Well,
Very good.
and I assume we could reach you at this address you give us in here. What?
Yes, I'm usually there if I'm not at college, of course.
Oh, which college are you going to?
I study history at King's College, sir,
Ah,
in the Strand.
excellent. What unit was your uncle?
I also tutor students there to supplement our income, of course. But
Oh, interesting. What unit was your uncle with?
let's see if he actually knows. Yeah, I don't know the name of the specific unit, sir. I just know that he served in South Africa and in Egypt.
Interesting.
Mm.
Do you know of any enemies?
Nope.
Suspects?
He retired. He retired 6 years ago, sir.
I mean, do you know of any enemy that any enemies your uncle may have had? Any competitors or such?
No. He was very well respected.
You said you'll be traveling within the week?
You say that again? You broke up on me.
You said you'll be traveling within the week?
Yes, sir. It's well, let's see. It's Monday now. Yes, I have tickets to go down in 5 days on Saturday. I can, of course, purchase more tickets if you wish to come. How many should I purchase?
I'm considering heading down. What's the time of day right now? Is it early, midday, late?
It's probably afternoon, after lunch.
Would it be feasible to catch the train tonight, or is it not a reasonable thing to expect?
Let me see. I think the train only goes once per day, and it's early in the morning. You could go the next morning if you really wanted to go down there yourself.
I'm considering heading down myself, and perhaps with a companion or two to get the feel and lay of the land, because I don't want any more time to pass by. 5 days seems like a lot. That'd be 15 days. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to head out tomorrow. So I will keep track of the expenses, and I'm just going to go ahead and pick up a ticket or two and head on down.
Okay. And what about for Saturday? How many tickets should I purchase? How many should I expect?
I'll travel with you on Saturday, and whoever wants to come with me.
Yeah.
So I will leave it to Mr. Van Zorn to tarry over those details.
Okay. So who you're planning to go the next day, Ruben?
Yes. Miss Morrow, were you considering joining us in this venture?
If you think that I can be helpful, I'm happy to. My skills are until I am better with a pistol. I think my skills are more in line with doing research and things like that. But I'd be happy to come with you if you wish.
That's exactly what I'm planning to do. I was thinking perhaps would make a pretty decent cover. Just a couple going down there.
Oh,
nothing inferred or intended, of course. Just
of course.
Putting on airs, as it were.
Very well. Yes, that would be fine.
Are you putting the moves on Von Zorn's bodyguard?
Yeah, when you said cover, I was like, he's still in my cover. What the hell?
Right. So that's the plan. So at least the two of us. Perhaps we could open the invitation to others. We'll see. We'll discuss it tonight.
Are we going to go over and check his flat today?
Walter, Hey, Walter. I'm sorry, Rob. What's your character's name again?
Gerard.
Gerard.
Bonham.
What do you think? Would you like to come with me, or would you like to come with Ruben?
Well, I have the cab outside, so we could get across town to Kensington fairly easily. I'd be happy to run you over and maybe help you check out the flat.
Right. I could use another set of eyes there.
I'm willing to go where needed, since this is basically my first case with you folks. Just tell me what to do, and I'll help out as much as I can.
Are you familiar with pistol and saber, sir?
I have a pistol. I don't have a pistol. I have a shotgun, and I have a knife, but not the saber nor the pistol.
Good enough. Come with us.
Sure.
Okay. And what about Mr. Renard?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Renard, do you want to tag along with us, or you want to go on Saturday?
He's gonna go on Saturday. He's gonna check out the executor's law office.
Cool. Excellent.
Very well, milady. It appears it is the two of us, unless we wanted to bring Albie along.
So Nathan will arrange for 4 more tickets for Saturday. And you can just get receipts, and then he'll pay for your tickets for the two of you that are heading down early as well.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to head across town with my crew to check out the flat.
Okay, so Walter is going to drive you to Kensington. I know Stanton said he is going to go to Baker Street to check out Mr. Powers' office. What about Gerard? Do you want to go, and of course Stanton and Wilhelm, if you have any say or any reason you want them to go with either one of you, please speak up too. But
Well, I wish someone with a big gun to go with me, but that's just me.
That's fine. I'll go with you.
okay,
Right.
okay. So the 3 of you are going to Kensington, and Stanton is on his own. Actually, I mean, Mrs. Morrow and
Yeah,
Ruben,
we're not
you guys
looking
are
for
leaving
tomorrow,
the next
right?
day, right? So you can go
Yeah.
somewhere too.
So, if Mr. Renard, if you would not mind, I would love to come with you.
Hey, by all means, feel free to tag along. You could be very useful.
Why, thank you.
And I'm going to make the arrangements for the tickets and get my preparations in hand.
Okay, cool. Very good. So first we will go to the party that's going to Baker Street. So that is Alice Morrow and Stanton Renard.
Mhm.
You will find the law office of Adrian Powers is located above a tobacconist shop on Portman Square. And you get there a good few hours before closing time. Once you go upstairs and knock on the door, you'll be let in by a tall, fidgety man with a rather luxurious mustache. And he says, I'm Adrian Powers. What can I do for you today?
Well, good day, Mr. Powers. My name's Alice Morrow. We're here on behalf of Mr. Nathan Hardwicke. He has engaged our firm to assist in the matter of his the death of Colonel Albert Hardwicke. And we were wondering if there's any information that you could possibly give us with regard to this estate that he is inheriting.
Now, I'm going to need a roll from you, Jen.
Yep.
It's going to have to be law or credit rating.
Ooh. What do I have for law? Probably not good. You wouldn't let me use charm?
Mm,
Trying to charm her way through life.
yeah, okay. Let's try charm. It's going to require hard success, though.
Oh, that's hard. Let me see. Actually, my credit, if it's credit rating, is it just a straight success?
Yeah.
Then I will go with credit rating because that's actually a little bit higher.
It's better than a hard charm roll. Okay.
Yep. Ugh, that's a big fail.
Okay. You can, if you like, you can push the roll. In which case, the consequence, if you fail again, would be that you will offend him, and by prying into his late client's personal business, and then he will, basically just kick you out or threaten to call the police. That's if you fail on a push roll, or of course you can spend luck if you prefer, or you just accept a failure. And Stanton could try. It's up to you.
I think I'm going to, seeing as this this is it would require over 40 points of luck, so I'm not going to do that. And I think I'm not going to push it, and I'm just gonna take the fail on this one.
Okay, Stanton, would you like to try?
Yes.
So he's like, he basically says, "Oh, well, listen, Mr. Hardwicke was a very good client of mine, and I don't think it would be appropriate of me to discuss the personal business of the late colonel with people who are outside of his family circle, I'm afraid."
And I say, no, monsieur, you misunderstand us. We are here to help. The nephew was very distraught about this whole thing, and I got a success on my credit rating. So as he pulls out, suppose that is very fancy watch. Kind of looks at it. Ah, yes, right time here to kind of just show, yes, that he is a man of means.
Mm-hmm. It's like, well, yes, I guess if you are working on behalf of his nephew, boy, it was like a son to him. Yes, well, come in, close the door. And so he'll take you inside, and he'll light up a cigar, and he'll offer you one, Mr. Renard.
He'll take it.
Okay. And he will hand you the box of matches so you can light your own. He says, yes, okay. Well, the colonel came to me about a month ago. He was expressing desire to sell some family property in Brecknockshire. He told me he was going to be traveling to the state to ready it for sale, and that he would contact me on his return. At which point, then, I would inspect the property myself and draw up all the necessary papers for sale, you understand. A few days before his death, it must have been nearly 2 weeks ago now, Colonel Hardwicke sent me a letter canceling the meeting and stating that he had much to do with the property before it would be ready for sale. It was only later then that I found out he was murdered a few days after sending that letter. That's really all I know about his dealings in Wales. Of course, I can relate to you the terms of his will. He left a few trinkets to various brothers in arms, and a modest sum for Mrs. Jeter, the housekeeper at his estate in Kensington, and the remainder of his estate went to Nathan, including the Kensington estate itself, as well as the estate in Brecknockshire. Neither Nathan nor Mrs. Jeter seemed to know anything of the Welsh property before I read it to them in the will. It's very strange, that.
Yes, I agree. That combined with him canceling the meeting makes the death seem quite suspicious, no?
Indeed.
Have you and my character would probably know this better than I do, but isn't if you're preparing to sell a property, isn't it typical to do like a title search to like check to make like the ownership history of the property? Is that a typical thing during that time?
You're muted.
Hey, and you are muted. Yep, we
Did
can't
somebody
hear you.
mute me? I don't know how I got muted. Oh, yeah, Seth muted me, it says here. Okay. I was unaware that I was muted. What was the last thing I actually said out loud that you heard?
You-
Make
you-
It was
make a sanity check at negatives.
Yeah, no. I don't know how long ago I was muted because I wasn't looking.
no,
was
Jen
before
was
I was
talking. Yeah.
Okay. So you heard everything up until she started asking about the history of the estates, right?
Yeah. I
Um,
don't want to ask him if he's done this, if that's not a thing that that gets done typically during that time period. But
yeah, I'm just looking back to see. Yeah, say that Albert inherited the estate from his brother Brian in 1880, 10 years ago. I don't know much more beyond that. You'd probably have to get any further information from Somerset House.
I think we might just do that. You've been most helpful, sir.
Of course, yes. Well, if there's anything else I can do, I doubt there is. But if you need anything, don't hesitate to call on me. Of course, I am still on retainer for Nathan. Should he need my services,
We'll keep it in mind.
and if you ever are in need of a solicitor yourself, Mr. Renard, was it?
Yes, this.
Yes. Well, please don't. He gives you a business card. Don't hesitate to call me.
Oh, I will not.
Okay. The Hardwicke house in Kensington. So we have Walter driving, and we have Gerard and Wilhelm traveling out there. Now, you said you wanted Gerard to bring his shotgun?
In a box.
Okay.
That's,
Gerard, you play the violin, don't you?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe I could put it in the violin case and leave the violin back at the offices.
Yeah, or maybe you have like because a shotgun's probably a little bit big for a violin case.
Well,
But
this
you
is
could have
this
you
is
could have
start off.
you could have like a cello case or something too. You know. Like,
It's a sawed-off shotgun.
oh, is it a sawed-off? Yeah.
I'm sure Hudson and Brand would have all kinds of musical instruments about.
Sure. Fair enough. Yeah, you could have a sawed-off shotgun in a violin case. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
and I'm going to carry my usual revolver in my coat. So.
Sure. Okay.
It's
Walter,
not that I'm expecting trouble, but this is Call of Cthulhu.
right. So Walter, since Mr. Von Zorn seems to be going out to this house to murder the rest of the Hardwickes, are you bringing any weapons?
I don't have any weapons. I have like a wrench in the cab. I'm fine with you lads taking, going tooled up, but try not to wave the irons around until you're out of the cab.
Is this your electric cab? Your
No, this is the regular handsome cab that I run every day.
Good. Wasn't sure. Okay. So it's a modest 2-story house in Sunderland Terrace.
Before you carry on, so
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Kensington is sort of the area that I spend a lot of time working in, ferrying people around, and I'm on the way there. If I get the chance to see any cabbies that I know, I might try to flag them down, try to get any word on who the Hardwickes are. Does anyone know anything about them? Is there any sense of whether they're well respected or mysterious in any way, or do we know anything about them as a family?
Yeah, okay, no problem. I'm sure you'd be able to flag down one or two along the way, no problem. And yeah, nobody seems to have a bad word to say about him. They know the colonel was some kind of a war hero or something. I don't know. He was a decorated soldier. very well respected. Just lived out there with his nephew and who he seemed to be raising as a son because he didn't have any other parents around, and the housekeeper. They seem to live a pretty quiet life out there. Totally
And
respectful. Nothing.
No strange comings and goings in the days before they set off to Wales.
No, none whatsoever.
Okay, so full steam ahead to drive over to the property.
Right. Also, if I can ask you, Seth, if you hear me mispronounce anything that you know I'm mispronouncing, feel free to give me a shout out.
Okay.
I saw that that post in the Call of Cthulhu thing about Southwark.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
said it's pronounced Southwark.
So London is a nightmare in that almost everything is pronounced the wrong way.
Yeah,
The only thing that I would say, so the bit of Wales I think that we're talking about is the Brecons, so Brecknockshire, which is the county that you're talking about.
Mhm.
The Brecon Beacons, which are a very bleak kind of rural mountain range. That's the primary thing I think that is in Brecknockshire. And I
Right.
think it's a bit of a mouthful. You could say that the Brecons is going to be where this place is.
It makes mention in here that it's not really referred to as Brecknockshire anymore or something like that. I don't know where it is in here. I remember seeing that it's now referred to as the Brecons or whatever. But
Yeah,
at
maybe
the time,
it was.
at the
Maybe
time
in
it was referred
1890,
to-
Brecknockshire might have been what it's called. But yeah,
the Black Mountains of Brecknockshire.
yeah, absolutely. So it's a desolate, remote landscape type part of the world. But cool. I mean, I'm not going to interrupt you about pronunciation unless it's unless.
Yeah, just if I'm butchering something like how do you say again? Southwark?
Southwark, yeah.
Okay, right. I don't think it was me. I don't think I'd ever said that word before, but just in case, it's good to learn anyway. So, on to Kensington, Sunderland Terrace, a crowded middle-class residential neighborhood. It's a modest two-story house is the Hardwicke house. And as you approach, you can pull the cab right up out front. A woman in her late 40s will answer the door. And she'll look at the three of you in turn, probably starting with you, Mr. Von Zorn, and then to Gerard, and then to Walter, and say, "Yes, how may I help you?"
Good evening, my lady. My name is William Van Zorn of the Hudson and Brand Investigation Agency.
Yes.
I believe young Master Hardwicke has inquired our services to look into his late uncle's demise.
Has he then?
Yes, he has.
I see. Well, he hasn't made any mention of it to me yet. He's not home at the moment.
Well, he said we could have access to the late Colonel's effects in order to further our investigation.
And she holds out her hand for you to give her the visiting cards, which would have been kind of a thing that they did at the time.
Yes, I give it.
She takes your visiting cards, places them in her pocket, and says, "Well, I'll make sure to tell him that you did call, and perhaps if you return at a later time, if he's either here or if he leaves me any instructions, then I could let you into the house. But I'm afraid at the moment I have no such instructions, and I'm going to have to refuse you access to the home."
Well, wait a minute. Let me use my 50 charm on you and see if that works. I'm going to try to charm her into, you look perfectly fine for one of 70, something like that. So can I make a charm roll?
You can try.
Right. Okay. I am rolling. I wish I had a camera. I do have a camera. I rolled a 09, and I kid you not.
Nice.
Rolled 09.
She says, Well, Mr. Von Zorn of the Hudson and Brand Inquiry Agency, yes? I suppose Nathan should be home pretty soon. If it should do no harm for you and your colleagues to come inside. But of course, I will have to accompany you.
Of course.
Do not split up.
Well, since that was an extreme success, do I at least get dinner with her or something like that?
Huh? No. No, but she will talk to you about the passing of Mr. Hardwicke.
Okay.
Say yes, it's a terrible shame. She's like, I've been working for Albert and Nathan for 7 years now, cooking, cleaning, shopping.
Do you know if he had any enemies or anyone who wished him harm?
Oh, certainly not. No. He was very well respected.
Did he act any strange in the last few weeks or something like that before he left?
Well, until I heard of this mysterious estate in Wales, that was probably the strangest thing that he's ever done.
When
Keeping
did you
something
hear
like
of that?
secret.
Was there any talk of Wales, any link or connection with that part of the world before the matter of the estate came
Well, he
up?
mentioned he was going there a couple of weeks ago on some business.
But that was the first time that he had any business in that part of the world, as far as you're aware.
Yes. Never, as far as I can recall, I never remember him traveling to that part of the country. No.
And did he receive a note or a letter or was there a visitor that introduced this idea?
Well, not that I'm aware of, no.
So he just one day raised the issue that he would be traveling to Wales without
Yes.
any...
Mr. Powers, when he read the will, had said that he was originally traveling there to prepare the estate for sale, but seeing as he passed away before that could be finalized, it has fallen to Nathan as part of the will. Go ahead and give me a psychology roll.
To me?
Yeah, or all three of you,
Okay.
since you're all three there.
Yeah, it's not his strong pursuit, but
Yeah, I didn't
close.
like it.
Close. 15 out of 10.
You could push it or luck it.
No, I can't luck it. No, I can't luck it.
Wouldn't be a push, it's more like a motive sense kind of thing. So
Yeah, and I can't luck.
what about you, Gerard? Did you roll psychology?
You're muted.
It'd be a D100.
He's muted. He's on mute. Gerard, you're on mute.
Maybe he's away from the keyboard at the moment.
I got it. Okay.
There you go.
And no, I really failed on it.
Okay, no problem. Worth a shot. All right. Anyway, never mind then.
So can we make more conversation with the housekeeper? So, it must have been a nasty shock over the last few days. It must be difficult, and maybe I'm not sure. Are you going to still be employed by the household under these circumstances? What are your plans?
Oh yes. Well, Nathan says he will keep me on as the housekeeper.
And
he inherited this house as well as the estate in Wales.
And has the Colonel's body been brought back to London for burial? Are there lots of things to organise? I don't know whether you must be very busy.
In that time period, yeah, they probably would have already sent him back and buried him by now. Yes, he was buried last week.
Did they say the cause of death?
Stabbing. He was.
Oh yeah, stabbed. I'm sorry, stabbed.
Well, he was bashed in and
then
stabbed.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Terrible thing.
And she looks genuinely distraught as you're saying this. She's like, "Oh my,"
Maybe see the Colonel's study, please.
Yes, here. I'll show you around. I lost my page. Here we go. Okay. So, kind of taking you around, takes you to Albert's rooms. You find just clothes, toiletries, other personal effects. you go by Nathan's rooms, and she will you can get a glance in, but she'll close the door. She'll say, I don't think you should enter Master Nathan's room in his absence. But from what you can see of it anyway, it looks just to be cluttered with like history and science books, student stuff, basically. Albert's study is on the ground floor, and there, perched on various shelves and standing free in other locations, you see many souvenirs from Albert's military service, small statuettes, masks, ceremonial weapons, crude doll-like fetishes. Anybody want to make anthropology or archaeology rolls?
I was about to say that, gentlemen. Why don't we take this room in and see what we find?
Yeah. If anybody wants to roll anthropology and or archaeology, please do.
Well, I have a 1 in 100 chance of succeeding on either of those.
Yeah, same thing.
If you're not trained in any of them, you're probably not going to pass. But
Same thing here.
Fail both of those.
okay, no worries.
I got close. I'm rolling all my good rolls now. Can I use spot hidden to see if there's anything unusual around?
No. What I will say though, what you could, because you did serve in Africa for a time yourself, you would they definitely look to be African to you anyway. You're not sure what part of Africa or whatever, but they definitely these trinkets definitely look to be from the African continent anyway. You also will find his small and rather prosaic library. On the wall above his desk are a pair of Martini Henry breech loading rifles.
Impressive.
Yeah, give me a spot hidden roll. Go ahead.
Ooh, 11 out of 25.
Yeah. You find a business card
Mhm.
hidden amongst the innocuous papers and correspondence on the desk. You find a business card for Adrian Powers, Bakersfield.
Oh. Someone's been there already. I'm looking particularly for anything that looks like a journal or any diary or anything like that.
And then you hear, oh, hello, gentlemen. And Nathan will walk in. And once he walks in, Mrs. Jeter will greet him and say, well, now that Master Hardwicke is here, I will leave you gentlemen to it. I will go to start making the preparations for dinner, sir. And she'll go wander off. So you're looking for like a diary or something?
Yes. Journal, diary, something written by the colonel.
No, you don't find any such thing. You just in his library, you just find a bunch of books about Egypt, Sudan, also the Crimean. I don't know how to pronounce that. Crimean.
Well, that's how it's pronounced in England. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And it's all pretty much like war stuff, military stuff.
So your uncle and you had very different reading interests, it seems, Nathan.
Well, I've never been a soldier, of course. So
was this a topic that he was? I mean, are these books just for show, or was your uncle really deeply interested in esoteric foreign military matters?
Well, like I said, he was a colonel, and he served in the army until about 6 years ago. He was wounded once, I think he said, in the Sudan, a year before he retired.
So he served in Africa.
Yes, and the Crimean.
And are you actually part Welsh? I don't know how to ask this for real, but I'm asking, are you Welsh? Yes.
Not to my knowledge, sir, no.
Isn't it strange that you would have...
My mother died in childbirth, but no, I was born and raised here in London.
So any relation, any connection with the Welsh? Because you have this, your uncle had this estate there. Why would he?
Well, not that I'm aware of, sir. No, that's why. Well, that's why I'm hiring you to find out what's going on with all this business in Wales. Why did he go there? Why was he murdered?
Can we see your uncle's bedroom?
Yes, of course. and I'll take you there. And you've already walked through there a little bit with Mrs. Jeter. Like I said, it's just toiletries, clothes, personal effects.
Nothing under the bed, nothing hidden or anything like that.
No, go ahead and give me spot hidden roll. All three of you. If you succeed, don't forget to put a little tick mark next to your skill for later.
Did not make it that time.
No, me neither.
No? Okay.
All right. Any ideas, gentlemen?
Did he mention a name of someone who he was supposed to meet upon arrival in Wales? Was he going to stay? Did he book himself into a local hostelry? Are there connections that we know of in Wales that he was meeting?
No, sir, I'm afraid not. Like, as I said, he didn't even really tell me where he was going.
And he traveled alone? He wasn't accompanied by a colleague or friend?
To the best of my knowledge. Do you think he was having an affair with someone there? Well, I mean, wouldn't really be an affair, would it? He's a single man.
Well, maybe, but I was imagining more that maybe he was going to meet somebody who would give him papers associated with the estate.
And he seems to be thinking, he's like, maybe he had a lover there. That could.
What makes you think? Is there any reason that make you think that?
Well, no, I mean, but just a man his age, single, no children. You know, he raised me as his own, but.
Is there anything you can think of that may help us on this case?
Well, really, I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But if you're not finding anything that's helping you here, I suppose you just have to wait till we get to Wales and see what you find there.
Well, it's just that we're trying to get an idea of your uncle's last days. What would cause a man to go off to Wales to pick up an estate that he before never heard of? I'm just trying to recreate what was going through the Colonel's mind.
Well, Mr. Powers had said that that Uncle Albert had owned the estate for the last 10 years, so it was left to him by his brother, who passed away.
His brother.
Mm.
Were you aware of it, your uncle? Were you aware of that?
Yeah, I didn't know him very well.
But what did you know of him?
Well, not very much, really. He was. He lived. Where did he live? Lived somewhere in the. In the south, somewhere near the shore, I believe.
How did he pass?
I think he had a decent amount of money.
How did he pass?
Does it actually tell me? I'll just make something. Oh, natural causes, sir. Yep. Old age, I said.
Did he have any children himself, or a wife or ex-wife?
My Uncle Brian.
Yes.
No, he was a bachelor, sir.
And he had held this Welsh estate for some time, but nobody had known about it, or it wasn't well known to your family that you had property in Wales.
Well, it certainly wasn't known to me or Mrs. Jeter, of course. Obviously, of course, Uncle Brian must have known about it since he left it to Uncle Albert.
And so he inherited this 10 years ago, but he hadn't traveled there frequently over the last 10 years. Was this the first time?
Not at all, sir. Not at all, sir.
So to your knowledge, this is the first time that he had visited an estate that presumably had been run by...
In all the time that I can remember, he's never been there, sir, no.
When you travel to Wales, what is your plan on Saturday?
Well, I'm going to try and continue what he was doing. I'm going to inspect the estate, see what needs to be done to prepare it for potential sale.
Okay.
I don't really see what I would do with an estate in Wales. I have the house here in Kensington. Be plenty for me.
Do you have any? Do you have the address and any more information on this place? I wish to look this place up in the Hall of Records before we leave.
Well, yeah, yes, he has an address for it, of course. He owns it now.
Okay.
It's like I suppose if you need to know anything else about it, you'd have to go to Somerset House.
Was your uncle planning on selling the property in the near future?
That's what Mr. Powers had said. Yes, he was down there preparing it for sale when unfortunately he met his demise.
Okay.
I'm going to do some studying on the house before we leave. Perhaps we could dig up some sort of background prior to your ownership of your family of this place. It might give us a clue.
Yep, no problem. So if there's anything else I can do, just let me know. But otherwise, he says we'll be leaving Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
What day is it today?
It's currently Monday. And I think it's to say here what time the train leaves. Let's just say 7 o'clock in the morning.
And what was the name of the constable that handled your uncle's case?
The constable in Partridge. Let me think about it. His name. What was his name? Merrick. Constable Merrick.
Did your uncle, or have you looked through any of his correspondence within the last month or so before he took this trip?
Well, in recent days, I've had some look, and Mr. Powers has had more look, of course. But there were no letters or anything from anyone in Wales.
What about if we went through the if you would allow it, we could look through the visiting cards that Mrs. Cheetah has received in the weeks before your uncle left for Wales.
Yeah, of course.
Capital idea. Capital idea.
Maybe if you could look through it with us, then you would spot a name. Presumably many of the names are well known to you, but a card that was not well known to you might be interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So he'll go if you want to do that. Look over the calling cards. There aren't very many. Only a few. Old brothers in arms that Albert knew here in London, and there are only a few of them because not that many of them have retired in London. So,
do any jump out to Nathan as being individuals that his uncle hadn't seen for some time, or maybe some of them are people who regularly visit?
No, they were all friends. They all hung out at the old Army and Navy Club.
One question before we leave. Did the constable say anything was stolen from your uncle after the attack?
No, he didn't.
Nothing?
He said that specifically that robbery did not seem to be a motive.
That's really peculiar. Okay. The question is, why would anyone, since robbery wasn't a motive, and I assume your uncle is the drunken type that would get in a bar fight or make enemies, right? Why would anyone want to kill a former military officer in Wales places?
Perhaps it was racially motivated.
Racially?
Maybe some of the locals in that backcountry place didn't take too kindly to a London gentleman poking around.
But it seems such an extreme reaction. I mean, if he was in Ireland or something like that, I would believe it. But It's hard to believe. But
It seems more an alternative is that if he was on business that involved changing the arrangements surrounding the estate, those changes may have unsettled some. They may financially disadvantage somebody, or if nobody had been looking at how that estate has been run for the last 10 years, then who knows what kind of shenanigans people were getting up to.
yeah, certainly possible. But if that's true, then young Master Hardwicke would be in danger himself.
Well, exactly. And I'm
Yes.
wondering whether waiting until Saturday, that's several days, and I'm not sure that it's our best use of our time to be in London for all of that time. I'm wondering whether we should bring forward our journey to Wales and go ahead of young Nathan, rather than risk him walking into the same fate as his uncle.
It's possible.
But maybe we should see what happens at Somerset House.
Yes.
Well, didn't your colleague say he was going to go down there tomorrow?
Yep, so they're definitely going on ahead. It's whether we should also join them sooner rather than later. But I think
Oh, I see.
we
I've
can,
already purchased your tickets for Saturday, but
perhaps they can be exchanged for an earlier train.
Will you be able to leave before that time?
well, I have classes and tutoring up till Friday afternoon, Friday evening, even.
Well, I don't feel very comfortable with if there is something afoot here, leaving young Master Hardwicke to travel by himself.
That's true as well.
I mean, if nothing else, I'll stay.
Do you
I will
really
travel.
think my life might be in danger?
At this point, we do not know, but
That's it.
I cannot take too many precautions. No.
Certainly a possibility. I think maybe we should visit you again tomorrow after we've spent a day exploring some of the leads that we've been talking about with you.
Of course. Well,
And-
Mrs. Jeter knows you now, and I'll make sure she knows that you may come again.
Okay.
All right, well then I'll see you gentlemen out then. He'll start to walk you to the door.
Okay.
And as you're leaving the house, walking back towards Bursey's cab, you'll see another man walking up towards the house. Looks to be in his 50s, very stoutly built, ruddily complected. He will nod curtly at you as he passes by.
Does he seem like a military man?
Yes, very much so.
And is he entering the property? Is he
As he walks up, Nathan's still standing at the door and goes, "Ah, Mr. Jones."
Eavesdropping?
Yeah. Slow down and listen.
Sure. Yeah, so he says, Mr. Jones, so good to see you. It's been a very long time. And Mr. Jones says, yes, too long, Nathan, too long. Terribly sorry to hear about your uncle. And he'll kind of look back over his shoulder as the door is beginning to close and glance at the three of you. And then the door will close. Oh, give me a listen roll, actually, just to see.
What is it? Oh, that's something.
Oh, no, you don't, never mind. You don't have to roll it because I've already told you. That's just called with the sympathies, yeah. So.
That was a roll I actually made.
Well, you can tick it off then because I've already told you what he said.
Yay.
Anyway, but, technically, I was supposed to have you listen to actually hear that, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes I miss these things until after the fact. So,
So I'm considering just nipping back up the path and listening at the front door to hear whether they exchange something just on the other side as they enter the property.
Okay.
So maybe I can use my listen roll for that instead of just hearing the.
Sure. So you walk back up there, listen at the door,
Mm-hmm.
and you just kind of hear muffled voices getting farther and farther away.
Okay.
They seem to be going to another room.
I just knock on the door. It's not proper to be listening to one's door.
Mrs. Jeter will open the door and say, "Gentlemen, did you forget something?"
Yes, I'd like to speak to Master Hardwicke one more time, please.
Oh, Master Hardwicke is with Mr. Jones at the moment, sir.
I am aware of that, and that's one of the reasons why I wish to speak to him. Please.
Well,
my little strudel.
Okay.
Gross.
How often
And,
does that line work?
So
What do you roll? I rolled a whole nine.
she'll let you come in and ask you to wait there in the kind of foyer area, and she'll go to get Nathan. And Nathan will come back with her and say, "Yes, Mr. Van Zorn, is everything okay?"
I was going to ask that with you. I saw this a man who knew your uncle, and I wish to know what's his connection.
Oh, Mr. Jones was an old friend of Uncle Albert's. They had served together.
May I meet him?
Well, right now he's just come to pay his respects, so I don't know if it would be proper.
No. When we're on a case of a murderer, my friend, every little bit of information may help us to find the dastardly bastards that did this to your uncle.
Right, of course. So come.
And I'm not suggesting that he's involved with this at all, but perhaps there may be one small clue that may help us.
Sure. I'll introduce you. Your friends don't mind staying here, do you? He's just looking at Walter and Gerard.
No, that's fine.
So he'll take you back over towards the study, and you'll see the man there. Like I said,
I extend my hand. Wilhelm Zorn.
Mr. Howard Jones. This is Mr. Wilhelm Van Zorn of the Hudson and Brand Inquiry Agency.
Of course.
And Albert will look at you kind of suspiciously.
Yes.
He says, "Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Van Zorn."
Of course.
He gives you a firm handshake.
I give him one back. I go, "Good sir, I'm sorry to intrude, but we have been commissioned to investigate the murder of the colonel, and we were looking for anyone who may have known the colonel, such as friends, as yourself. I understand. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?"
Well, it's in rather poor taste, but I suppose if you must.
Sir, there is a murderer afoot.
Yes, I understand. It was one of my dear friends who was murdered.
Yes, and these are the times we
Give me
may
a psychology roll.
Oh, I'm sucky at that. Yeah, no.
Okay.
I go, these are the times that one must put away such pleasantries and get to the truth. Wouldn't you agree?
He says, grinding his teeth a bit. Give me a spot hidden roll.
I'm better at that. Made that. 23
He's
out of
clenching his right fist, and you see the knuckles kind of going white.
I say, you seem like the man of action who've seen some action. I'm sure you understand the urgency that we're facing now. Do you mind if I ask you some questions?
I said, go ahead. Please get it over with so that I may pay my respects to my dear friend's nephew, which I came here to do.
Of course. When was the last time that you see the colonel?
Must have been last month. I saw him at the Army and Navy Club.
How did he seem to you?
He seemed fine, happy, healthy.
What's your relationships to the colonel?
We were comrades in arms. We both have retired here in London, and we've remained close friends.
Oh, did you have an engagements, combats, battles, wars?
Yes, we had served together.
Where?
In Egypt.
Egypt. What campaign?
He names a campaign. I don't fucking know.
Okay, yeah, right.
The Egyptian campaign, of course.
Right. When did you hear about the colonel's death?
It's only recently. I read about it in the paper.
You did not attend the funeral?
I did attend the funeral, yes, after reading about his death in the paper.
How long ago was that?
It was last week, sir.
Huh, interesting. Did the colonel mention anything about whales to you?
He did not, sir. Roll psychology.
Oh, I suck at this. Oh, close. 9 would be a success. If I spend 9 luck, it would be success.
You want to spend 9 luck?
Oh.
Spend it.
I only have 32 luck, man. No, I won't spend it.
Okay.
I go. Interesting. If we need to contact you again, where can we find you?
He offers you a calling card, which has an address. Has an address on it. I have to look up Eagle Street.
Okay, good. I'd say if you hear anything relating to the death of the colonel, you will contact us, won't you?
Of course I will. Albert was a very good friend of mine, and I want to get down to the bottom of this as much as you do, sir. Perhaps more so, I suspect, since I am not doing it for financial gain.
I give him a curt smile, perhaps. Good day, sir. Good day.
If you had passed any of those psychology rolls, you would realize just how close he was to punching your lights out. But
I figured I'm not going to spend 9 for that.
oh no, there was more too, but that's good.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
I turn to leave.
While he was doing
Roll
that,
a listen check as you're walking away. Yeah, go ahead, Gerard, while he rolls his listen check.
No. No.
What were you gonna say, Rob?
while he was talking to him, can I try to talk to the servant lady?
Of course you can,
yeah. And can I try to charm on her before I talk to her?
Yeah, if you want to. What are you trying to get out of her? What are you trying to convince her?
I want to ask her if there was anybody that had showed up, a stranger that she hadn't seen before, that didn't leave a card when he came in, or came to call. And if he
You
did,
don't have to roll a charm for that. Yeah, no, seriously, no, definitely. There weren't any visitors aside from the ones that I mentioned to you earlier and showed you the cards. If there were, I would certainly tell you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, one more thing, ma'am.
Yes.
It's maybe you might think it might be against your station here at the house to divulge this, but did the colonel and anybody have words that you may have sounded angry and heard in the last couple of months?
Oh no, not at all.
Okay.
No, Albert was a very gentle man. Although don't get me wrong, I'm sure he was perfectly capable of violence if it was necessary, having served for many years, decades even in the army. But no, there were no issues at all. It's one of the reasons why this all seems so strange to us. But she says, that said, we know nothing about whatever business he had going on in this Welsh town. So perhaps he had enemies there, but we wouldn't know.
Do you know had he ever traveled? Did he travel there prior to this visit? Since you've worked for him?
No, not in the last 7 years. He's not made any trips to Wales.
Okay, well, thank you once again. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.
And you failed that listen roll, you said too, right? Wilhelm?
Yes, I did. Yep,
Okay,
I did.
cool. Yep. So you can rejoin Gerard and Burzy at the near the door, the foyer.
We should get back to the office and see what the others have found.
Okay. Back to the others.
I'm saying that assuming that everyone else with me agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Renard and Mrs. Morrow where would you go after leaving Mr. Powers' offices?
Probably back to Hudson and Brand.
Yeah, probably back to regroup before we
Okay.
decide what our next move is.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So by the time you all regroup back at Hudson and Brand, it's going to be after 4 o'clock, I'd say, in the afternoon. By that point in time, too, Carmichael can be back, having purchased tickets for himself and Mrs. Morrow to leave in the morning for Brecknockshire.
Indeed.
The route of which, let me just double check here. I have that information for, it leaves from Paddington Station early morning. It's at 7 a.m. It's approximately a 5 to 6 hour trip on the Great Western Railway, making stops in, amongst other places, Reading, Swindon, Newport, Abercynon. It's about 10 shillings one way each. And then once you get to Abercynon, don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Abercynon? I don't know. Abercynon, I'm going to say. Once you get there, you will have to basically get a surrey or something to go to Departure Show.
Fair enough.
So once we see them, I'll ask them, what did you find?
Well, we found that Mr. Renard is quite a bit more charming than I am.
I find that very hard to believe.
Well, he does have great legs.
Well, it seems that there was a little bit of a mystery surrounding this place. The good colonel seems to want to sell the place and have his executor look it over, but at the last minute he sent a letter canceling it. It's very strange.
Perhaps he found some hidden value or something that just needed to stay hidden.
I would imagine so. This isn't the type of thing that usually would result in an accidental death.
Well, I don't believe we found much. I believe we found the fact that the estate belonged to the deceased's brother before it was passed over to him. Walter, did you get anything more out of it?
No, not much. I mean, there were no shadowy figures that had arrived telling him something, no letters that we could find, no diary. You did get the impression that maybe if he had confided anything, if the trip to Wales if there was anything mysterious about it, he might have confided it in war buddies that he meets at the, what is it, some club that he goes to, the Army and Navy Club.
Yes.
But apart from that, I mean, it's possible that just some mad vagrant has stabbed him to death on the Brecon beacons, and there is no more to it than that. We may not know until we reach Wales.
It does seem that way. And we did meet one of his army buddies, it seems, someone he worked with in Egypt. Seems to be a very intense man.
He was worked up about something, wasn't he?
Yes.
But
I have his card. I have his card here.
But maybe if your old friend that you'd seen many campaigns with had been murdered in a Welsh peat bog, you would be worked up too.
Yes, it's possible. I have a feeling that maybe there was a moment there where I thought it might have been more, but no telling. We'll see. Walter, you were saying that you thought we should leave earlier with Alice and Renault. I mean, Alice and Ruben.
It depends whether what we could spend our time on in London Tuesday to Saturday. So I agree that possibly Nathan, we need to make sure that the boy is not at risk. And maybe I think checking the records of the estate and finding out where it originated, that's a good idea. Possibly we could visit his club and see if we could talk to some other of his army buddies that might know why he was headed to Wales. But I'm not sure that we have 5 days worth of, or 4 days worth of activity in London that could occupy us, and while the trail goes colder in Wales.
Well, I agree, but I feel more comfortable, one of us, with the young master Hardwicke, just in case, well, the unthinkable.
Well, indeed. So I think maybe we should review the matter this time tomorrow. So there's definitely work to be done in London tomorrow, and we'll know where we stand once we've done it.
Ruben?
Yes, yes. All sounds proper. We will go ahead and consider it a solo mission unless you find the need or desire to follow up sooner.
Alice?
Yes.
What do you think of the plan so far?
I think that based on what we've heard, that Mr. I forgot his name. Mr. Bressy is absolutely correct. That it sounds like there is certainly some work to be done here, but maybe not an entire week's worth of work. We can certainly go and get the lay of the land, as it were, and sort of scout out the situation. But as soon as you feel that you've learned all that you can, then I don't see any reason why some more of you wouldn't want to come out. Although I think you're absolutely right that the young gentleman, his life might very well be in danger. So perhaps you want to stay behind and look after him.
That was my idea. Renaud?
I think the plan to go ahead is ordered, although I'm very interested to maybe speak to this other associate of the deceased colonel. I feel that it might be a useful follow-up.
Excellent. So at least we have a plan of action, I think. Would you all agree?
Indeed.
Right.
I would like to go to the library and look up some information on the area that we're going to, the history of it, just trying to get a feel of it before we get down there. I could give you guys some information back on that.
That sounds like a very proper thing to do. I will join you.
Thank you.
It's getting a bit late in the day to do that now, but you could certainly do that.
Do I have anything at the bookshop that might be helpful?
Interesting.
As Zorn had pointed out, that would be a very useful asset to have your own private library.
Indeed.
Why don't you go ahead and give me a luck roll, Miss Morrow?
Okay.
It's like having Google right next door.
I got a 21.
I take it that as a success. Okay. So you go back over to your bookstore, looking through to see if you have anything on Wales, and surely you do.
Mm-hmm.
You would know. Let's see. What can I tell you? So Brecknockshire is one of 13 historic counties of Wales. It's named after its county town of Brecknock. It's a mountainous and primarily rural county. Let me see here. The county, like I said, predominantly rural and mountainous. The Black Mountains occupy the southeast of the area. The Brecon Beacons, the central region. Forest, I don't know how to pronounce that. Far, I guess, the southwest. And oh my goodness, and something else to the north. Let me see if I can get some pronunciation assistance here from Google. Maybe. Copy.
What kind of information were you guys hoping to find?
Oh wow, the Google voice for Welsh is awful. I believe it's Munyad Appent, which is the Appent Mountain to the north. Yeah. What else can I tell you? Let's see here. The county was created by the Laws in Wales Act of 1535. Wait a minute. Wait. I'm guessing that's not the year 1535, is it? Oh, yeah, apparently it is. 1535, 1542. Is that the years they were done? Let's find out for sure.
What specifically were you looking for, information-wise, other than just basic information?
Yeah.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Just kind of a lay of the land, what kind of population there is there, resources maybe that might have been, something that might be of value that somebody would want that for. Maybe even any kind of other weird activity that had happened there, like murders occurred at certain times of the year.
You're thinking the estate might be sitting on something that had a value of some sort.
Yeah, that could be, yeah.
Certainly doesn't look like it. I'm putting up on the screen right now a map of the area around where the estate address is located. So you will see the Black Mountains there. You'll see the river called the Greena Vehan, which flows from south to north up into the actually probably flows from north to south out of the mountains, not up into the mountains. Begging your pardon. You can see the village of Partrishow. You see it's not very far over the national boundary.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that far into Wales. It's very close to the English border.
A lot of ruined.
Yeah, ignore that. You wouldn't find that on your.
Okay.
You won't know about that. You won't know about that till you get there. I'm just putting this.
Okay,
up
that's fine.
I'm just throwing you a bone here.
That's fine. Cool.
Nosy, damn investigators! I guess they're nosy by trade. So
in for a penny.
If you want, if any, we're going to be leaving in the morning, of course. But if anyone else would like to look, I think you could probably find local newspapers at a public library. I don't have those here. It's not periodicals, but if there's any local news, you could likely find that.
Okay.
okay,
Right.
Okay.
all right. You can all have dinner back at the offices. Drinks and smokes and everything afterwards as you wish, and I think that will pass the night of Tuesday, or what did I say? It was Monday night, or did I say it was Tuesday?
I think you said
Monday night, right?
Okay. I thought you said Tuesday, but all right.
I thought.
Yeah, I think he said Monday, and then it would be Tuesday through Friday with the remaining.
Right. Yeah, I think it was Monday. So okay. So there we go. And then on early Tuesday morning, of course, Mrs. Morrow and Mr. Carmichael will get their train to Abersionen, assuming I'm pronouncing that correct. Yeah. Do you guys want to take a quick bio break if anybody needs to use the restroom, etc., and we'll pick up in a couple minutes? Yeah.
Yes,
Bio break.
Bio break.
Do a quick one. I'm not going anywhere. I think no, I got everything I need here. So
Yeah, I'm gonna chill here.
I will simply turn off my camera so that anybody who's watching this in the future can realize, oh, well, look, the Fantastic Dimension symbol is up there. I guess that means they're on a break, and then I'll turn it off when everybody gets back. In the meantime, I'll check just a couple of comments on the video so far, just from Stephanie, who runs the Stygian Fox Publishing,
Ah.
who published Hudson and Brand. She popped in to say that we have a nice full team. Who's going to survive? Well, everyone, of course, hopefully. And she says that Plandi Daear means children of the earth, as she is a native Welsh speaker from North Wales. And Anna Marcus says, "Oh, Fantastic Dimensions is on a break." Yeah, we're on a break momentarily. Although, I'm still here.
Somebody from Welsh. Are they just Welsh, or would
Someone
they be
from Wales.
Would they be a Welsher?
They would be Welsh.
Just Welsh. There's no.
Yeah,
Okay,
not a Welsher. No, just Welsh.
So you've got someone checking the pronunciation there.
No. She just chimed in to let us know what the words actually mean. Plandi Daear. And it looks like it's actually misspelled in the title of the scenario. Because I noticed this too. I looked it up at one point in time as well. And Daear is normally spelled with 2 Ds, not one, but from what I can see.
Really? Because that would mean that it would be pronounced like differently, right? Because a double D is a th.
In Welsh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
The double consonants.
So maybe my Google Translation has done me wrong because of the misspelling. Let me see. Let me see if I can spell it correctly. Yeah, that's the way. Yeah, you're right. It's Plandi Daear. Shit. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, but if it was spelled with 1 D, then you can't be.
We can thank Mr. Ross who wrote the scenario for.
Yeah, I don't think you can really be blamed if they.
No, of course.
If they misspell it.
I don't know anything about Mr. Ross. I don't know where he's from, so perhaps.
Well, Ross is a good Welsh surname.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, shit. That said, too, I mean, there could be different regional things as well. I know, like in Irish, the way things might be spelled and pronounced around like Dublin would be completely different from the way they might be pronounced or spelt around the Gaeltacht, or at the west or something. But
yeah,
hey, we're not back yet, are we?
No.
You apparently are.
Hey, let me answer this question. In our armory at Hudson and Brand, did we have a sword cane? Which I forgot to ask you at the beginning.
No, did not. The only sword cane in Hudson and Brand, I believe, is. Oh, actually, no. Does Reuben Carmichael have a sword cane? I don't remember.
Most assuredly, and the skill to use it.
He does. Okay, so that's the only sword cane in the agency.
Well, at some point he will. Zorn will commission another one.
I bet Mr. Carmichael would know the place to get one.
Absolutely.
Actually, I was thinking of trying to get a tailor to make him a long coat, Highlander long coat, so he can hide his saber in it.
A long coat indeed.
Okay. Stephanie chimed in to say, yes, you were right, by the way, of course, Seth. It is Plandi Daear. And so the double D is, of course, the TH sound like as in fathom, not bath. Is there a difference? Fathom, bath. Okay. And Kevin Ross is American. There we go.
Oh, right. Okay.
No disrespect, man, of course, to Mr. Ross. I've run the scenario before. It's a very cool scenario that he wrote here. I think, anyway. I like it.
And you said people died, right?
Well,
It's Call of Cthulhu.
someone died the last
People
time I ran
always
the scenario.
die.
That's true.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean that anyone's going to die this time.
although some might deserve to die.
Well, I mean, Von Zorn's going to probably die because he's got like almost no luck left, and
Yeah, no love.
sanity's really low.
Yeah. And as you notice, he's not going first. Hey guys, I missed the train on Saturday. Next one.
His bodyguard is heading off. His bodyguard's heading off to Wales early with his partner, so he's going to be left behind in London to protect the young man who's hired you guys. Yeah, Von Zorn might be fucked.
It's not like Ruben planned it, or did he?
Perhaps Mr. Von Zorn will be spending his twilight years in Bedlam.
Damn you, Ruben! Damn you! Damn you to hell!
It wasn't such a tasty sandwich.
Well, I got cake. I'm okay.
Okay, so who are we waiting on to return? I believe we're still waiting on Jennifer.
I've got to look up the addiction.
I'm back.
Okay, Jennifer's back. Is Rob back? Or did Rob, maybe Rob never left? Are you there, Rob?
Rob is always there.
No, perhaps Rob is away. So once Rob returns, I think then we're all here. We can continue. Damn it, Joseph, now I want cake. I don't even like I'm not that big a fan of cake, but you made me want
It
cake.
could be a savory cake.
Oh.
I don't know about savory cakes. I like savory pies. I like a good meat pie.
Oh, you're in Ireland. Of course you do.
I make a very good corn cake.
Corn cake. Okay, I've never had corn cake. I've had plenty of cornbread.
It's a spoon. It's a spoon bread. It's really a cake, but they call it a spoon bread.
I do like cornbread.
Yeah, it's just slightly sweeter and has actual corn in it. Kernels of corn. Eat cornbread in Ireland as a cultural thing? No?
I don't think I've ever seen it in Ireland.
Interesting. So I imagine grits would be unheard of as well. Although polenta might be there.
I don't recall seeing polenta, but I don't want to say that it's not around here. But no, it's not really something I think that they're into here.
Shame.
Okay, I've returned.
Excellent. Okay. Just one moment to respond to somebody in the chat here real quick who was asking about what book this adventure is from. Anybody who's watching, I guess I could just say it here, but this is, well, maybe I shouldn't say. No, it's from Sacraments of Evil.
Sacraments of Evil? What the hell? Man, I thought this was from, the quiet cases of, what the hell, man?
Yeah, isn't that what I said? Yeah. Yep.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. What could happen? We're splitting the party. What could happen?
Yeah.
It's a Call of Cthulhu adventure book. What did you want? Happy Rainbow Ponyland?
Oh, yeah. that would require a sanity check.
That would be more horrific, I think, than Sacraments of Evil. Okay, so the next morning, Mrs. Morrow and Mr. Carmichael, you can catch a train out of Paddington Station, 7 a.m. bright and early, so you'd have to be up well early.
Right. He will have biscuits and jam to travel with.
I will make sure Mrs. Morrow has her practice pistol with her.
Okay.
Please take your practice pistol.
I shall practice diligently.
What is her practice pistol? Is it one of the ones from the armory, or is it something?
It would be the light 32. It was a 32 caliber, the light one.
Okay, was that something that was in your own armory?
Yeah, I believe so. Revolver.
I just want to double check. Then I will get the information from here.
I believe so.
Let us see.
I had it on my list.
Revolvers. Or handguns. Yeah, same thing. There's an Adams. Nope, that's a 450. There's a 22 4-barreled repeating pistol. There's a 380 caliber.
Something tiny and
Another 450 caliber, 455 caliber. Yeah, there's no 32. Did you get the 32 off of somebody else, maybe?
No, I thought we had one. Maybe I'm getting confused with the 380.
I think maybe you're thinking of the 380, yeah. Okay, so that's Webley number 2. You can write down, Jennifer.
It's a what number 2?
Webley, Webley, Webley number 2. And I'll give you the stats on it in a second here. There we go. So that does 1d8 plus 1 damage.
Oof. Actually, that's a light gun.
Base range of 5 yards. Has a uses per round of 1 or 3, if you want to go hog wild on it. It holds 6 bullets and malfunctions on a 00.
Okay.
That's a right proper pistol.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad. Not too shabby. Hopefully, you'll never need it.
And practice your wrist exercises on a train.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so we catch the train and we're on our way.
Woohoo! Biscuits and jam.
Proper biscuits and jam.
Yeah, you guys got a long journey.
And clotted cream.
Woohoo!
Well, if it's a long journey, we'll have tea at least twice, so that'll be good.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's about a 5 to 6 hour train journey. So that puts you into, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then you're going to have to get a surrey to take you on from Abersionen to Partridge. And that takes to say how long that takes. Let's see. It says it's like mid-afternoon by the time you would arrive. Yeah. So, it says it's mid-afternoon by the time you arrive at Abersionen.
Oh.
Okay. Well, maybe 1 o'clock is 1 o'clock. Maybe I had the train leaving too early. 1 o'clock would be fine anyway. And then, I would say it's more like mid-afternoon by the time you arrive in Partridge, actually. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Okay. So, what are the rest of you guys doing during the day?
So there's 2 ideas, I think. One idea is Somerset House to find out what the ownership of this estate has been in the past. And the second idea is to visit the Army and Navy Club and try to wheedle our way in, see if we can talk to some old Army buddies of the Colonel.
Mm-hmm. Now, who has military service?
That would be me, but I was Prussian, so we weren't.
Yeah, so you were not a member of the Royal Army and Navy Club. Okay, no problem. All right, how do you want to go about it? Are you splitting up, or are you all going together? What's the plan? You'll have breakfast, of course.
All right. I do want to do the Somerset House. I do want to do library use and check out the background of this estate.
Let's do that.
Yeah, I want the library, and besides checking out the area and the history, maybe like you're saying, go through the newspapers, see if there's been other occurrences in the past few years or past 50 years, whatever it takes to look,
Yeah, we don't really need to split up because we have a couple of days. We can focus all on one task and
Yep.
do the next day.
Okay, so we'll start at Somerset House. Now, in order to obtain, what are they called, reading passes, we're going to need either a law or credit rating roll.
Oh, wait a minute. Before we do that, I'd like to do one thing.
What?
Something Ruben already did. He set up the Little Bird Network, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to have them keep an eye on young Hardwicke's house and just let us know if there's any unusual characters of big men comings and goings and so forth like
Sure, you got like 6 people in your Little Birds network, so I mean, they can easily put somebody on the house.
Yeah, so.
At least during daytime hours. They're young boys, they have to be home at dark. But
Right.
Okay. Does anyone have a decent law skill?
law or credit rating?
Oh, I have credit rating.
Yeah.
I'm rich.
Okay. Roll your credit rating to see if you can get into Somerset House with a reading pass.
Not a problem. 37 out of 55.
Good. Then they will let you in. Now, I would need. So, are you all just searching independently, or?
Can we assist one another so we can get some advantages?
Yeah, sure. We'll do 2 and 2. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, who are the 2 making the rolls, and who are the 2 assisting?
Which skill are we using?
Library use.
Okay, I have a decent library use, 40.
Okay, so you should be making one of the searches.
Mm-hmm. I will be assisting because my library use
Is rubbish. Okay, so Wilhelm is going to assist you, Walter.
Mm-hmm.
What about Stanton and Gerard? How are you guys on library use?
Stanton has 40.
Gerard, do you have a 40 or better? Or better than a 40, I should say, in library use?
Gerard, you are muted.
Give him a moment.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll assist. I only have 20.
Okay, cool. So, in that case, then Stanton and Walter, you can each make your rolls with a bonus die for the assistance you're receiving.
Okay, I get a 36, which I passed by 4.
Okay, so that ends up with a 26 for me.
Brilliant. Okay. I have something for each of you. So, first, Walter, you find birth certificates for Brian Hardwicke, which is Albert's older brother, who was born in 1831. Albert himself, born in 1834. And Clarissa Hardwicke, born in 1847. Their father was a member of the gentry named Lionel Hardwicke. Their mother, Christine, died giving birth to Clarissa, the youngest, the sister.
That's always bad. That is always bad.
Yep.
Death certificates exist for Lionel, the father, it would be Albert's father, passed away in 1857. Christine, the mother, died in 1847 when Clarissa was born. And the eldest son, Brian, 1880. There's no death certificate yet on record here for Albert, but obviously it's still processing. All of these deaths, though, seem to be natural causes. The family wills, which you'll find along the same location where you find the birth certificates, show that the estates were left in Brian's name on Lionel's death, and that they fell to Albert on Brian's death, and on his death, then to Nathan. So you do find, although you don't find a death certificate yet for Albert, you do find a copy of the will on file that shows that the estates have been left to his son Nathan. That includes the Kensington estate and the Welsh estate.
What's the relation of Clarissa to? Is she Albert's sister?
Yes.
And so, is she still living?
No, she. Give me an idea roll.
Okay. Okay, I don't. Oh yeah, I have an amazing. So the idea is the same as int. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, I just made that. So 73. I have an 80.
Jesus, you're a guy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. There was no death certificate for her. There was there.
No. Well, there wasn't.
There is no death certificate for her here. However, you will remember that Nathan was Albert's nephew, not his son. So Clarissa must be his mother.
Right. And so she has passed away, but there's no death certificate, so we don't know whether she passed away through natural causes or not.
Yeah.
And we don't know what date that was. But anyway, okay. So Nathan
Correct.
is the is
You
the
can
only
make
survivor.
the assumption that if Nathan is 20, he did say in the house that his mother died in childbirth.
Right.
So the assumption would be that she passed away in 1870. Which would have made her 23 at the time.
Okay.
Nothing particularly strange about that.
No.
And you may also notice that he said his mother died giving birth to him. And you would also see that her mother died giving birth to her as well.
Yeah.
23 years before. Now,
Okay.
Stanton, you find Albert's military record. Shows that he served with distinction in the Crimean in the mid-1850s, rapidly advancing through the ranks. So he would have been like right around 20 years old or so at the time when he started there. He briefly served in South Africa in 1881 before being reassigned and promoted to colonel in Egypt in 1882. There's a record of him receiving a wound in the Sudan in 1883, but he was evacuated before the British and Egyptian forces were wiped out by the Mahdi, and he retired from Her Majesty's Army in 1884.
Again, nothing unusual.
Yeah.
And as far as any information goes on the estate, the only thing you guys find on it is basically just that it has been in the family at least since the time of Albert's father, because he left it to his eldest son, Brian, when he passed away.
So is it right, just looking at some of these dates, that Clarissa died 1870, Brian
Yeah,
died...
that's speculation, but you don't have a record of that, but that's assumed since she supposedly died giving birth to Nathan 20 years ago.
So she died 1870, her brother died 1880, and his brother died 1890.
Correct.
So that's a sort of strange coincidence.
Could be, yeah.
Who's the father of
That was
Yeah,
Lionel.
Lionel?
No, the father of Nathan?
Yes.
No record.
No record.
There's no birth certificate for Nathan either.
What row? What?
Wow.
That,
Okay.
that's a bit.
You have
That's
no
a bit.
birth certificate for Nathan.
That's a bit unusual, isn't it? And Nathan is the young man who hired us. I'm sorry, my memory is just so bad. Right?
Yes, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's
So-
the 20-year-old who is, so he's 20 now in 1890, born in 1870. His mother died at the same time, but there's no death certificate for her, no birth certificate for him,
And no record of his father.
and no record of his father. Absolutely.
Right.
And that's a bit unusual.
Yeah, I mean, there's no marriage certificates or anything for his mother, and since there's no birth certificate for him, of course, there's no that would have any record of his father, hopefully, on it.
I got a question. You said there was enough, and again, I apologize. Ian,
Don't worry about it,
for
man.
my
There's a lot of
memory.
names and a lot of dates here.
Right. You said there was another woman who died in childbirth. The mother of someone else died in childbirth.
Yeah, that would have been Nathan's grandmother.
Right.
Who died giving birth to Nathan's mother.
Right. And who was her father?
There's no record of that. Records only go back as far as Nathan's grandparents, Lionel and Christine.
What year was it that she died?
1847.
1847. Yep.
47. Okay.
I wouldn't mind asking Nathan, did he know his father? I know that's a bit unusual question, but it's interesting.
And maybe he was born overseas. Maybe there's some.
It's possible.
Yeah.
We should look that up.
Yeah, we should check it with him.
We have the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So you spent a few hours in Somerset House. It's probably by this time it's a little afternoon, lunchtime. Mr. Carmichael and Mrs. Morrow still have not yet arrived in Abersionen, so
I whip out my Google app and see where they are. No. Okay. Yeah, I think I would like to, in the evening, go and visit Nathan and ask him a few questions about his family.
okay. Well, Nathan is in college right now.
Right, that's why I said in the evening. After
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear the evening part.
Do you think maybe the housekeeper might have any information about Nathan's father that she would casually mention?
Do you guys go back to the offices for lunch to discuss this, or are you going out for lunch?
I would take the guys to the men's club, to the gentlemen's club
Okay,
that I frequent.
no problem. Yeah, whatever club, we would give it a random name. Don't worry about it right now; it's not important. So you take them to whatever gentlemen's club you're a member of for lunch.
Yeah.
And at some point, give me listen rolls while you're all having lunch and discussing what you should do about finding out who Nathan's father is, etc.
No.
I got it.
Yeah,
You hear a bit of a commotion up by the front door. You hear like kind of a raised voice, and then one of the I'm assuming like a club would have kind of like a doorman or something. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Or maybe more than one. One of the doormen comes in and starts approaching your table with kind of a sour look on his face.
I say, is there a problem?
Sorry to bother you, Mr. Von Zorn, but there's some kid out front that says he needs to speak to you. We told him
Bring him to
members only.
I will take care of it right now. Come. I rush out the front door.
Okay, it's Albie. Albie's
What's
there.
wrong?
He says, "Oh, good to see you, Mr. Von Zorn. This
Albie?
jerk wouldn't let me in.
Yeah, they have that way.
Listen, Markham sent me to get you. He said that you had received some correspondence at the office that you would probably want to see right away."
Excellent done, Albie. I give him 5 shillings.
Oh, wow. He sticks his tongue out at the doorman. Anything else I can do for you, sir?
Yes, one more thing. Good sir, Jeeves. Albie here is my personal assistant. He is my valet. He is my confidant. Next time you see him, he is to have entrance if I am in the club. Is that clear?
He's a child, sir.
I did not ask you how old he was.
Understood.
Thank you. Gentlemen?
What a great response. Didn't ask you how old he was.
Hey, did someone just jump on? Oh,
Sean did. Yeah, I think he might have got disconnected or something.
Oh,
no,
okay.
he's on the site. He must have a connection issue.
Yeah.
okay. So, shall we get back to the offices?
Okay. Yeah, so you get back to the offices.
Well, I'm asking my companions.
Oh, sorry.
Walter?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Yes.
did we actually have any lunch?
You were kind of in the middle of it.
Okay, I wolfed down a couple of. I don't often get to eat at a swanky club, so I wolfed down a couple more mouthfuls, dab my mouth, and then we're on.
You and me both. Okay. Yep, no problem. And so then when you get back to the office at Golden Square, Markham will greet you at the door.
Mhm.
Say, yes, Mr. Von Zorn, this arrived for you in the post, and he hands you this envelope. And because I assume you kind of talk. Markham listens anyway, but I assume you talk to Markham too.
Yeah, he's a
You'll see
full
that
confidant.
the return. Well, there's no return address per se on the envelope. I don't know if they did return address, but it just says it has Howard Jones's name on it, though. It says it seems to be from Mr. Jones. I thought you'd want to see it right away.
Of course.
You open it up, and there's a note that says, "Dear Sir, I understand your interest in the recent unfortunate death of Colonel Albert Hardwicke, retired of Sunderland Terrace. As you know, he was a friend of mine, and I too am curious as to the details of his murder. Perhaps we should share our views on this matter in private company. If you wish, you may call on me after 7 o'clock this evening. Best regards, Howard Jones."
Okay. I look at my companions. What do you think?
He seems to have had an interesting change of heart. This is the same Jones that we met yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can Stanton see if he knows of Jones?
Yeah. Let me see.
You just know his main hit singles.
Let me just. Yeah. Howard. Wait, who's Howard? Who is Howard Jones?
I've heard the name 100 times. It just doesn't.
I know Tom Jones, the Welsh singer.
He was 80s synth pop and Buddhist.
That's why I don't know about him then.
No, he had a handful of hits. You would know him. He's a good guy.
Okay. Well, if John likes him, I probably hate him. So.
You mean Tom Jones?
I'm going to see if there's anything about... No, Howard Jones.
Oh.
I'm just looking to see if there's anything you should know about Howard Jones. Okay, yeah, go ahead and let me see. What kind of role would you be making for this, Stanton? So to kind of find out, like, I assume from your kind of connections, in the underground.
Yeah. Maybe also just some dealings with some people who might have dealt with him in the past.
Let's. Well, I assume you're making this inquiry now, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a luck roll.
Okay. Okay, so I got a 56, and that's a success.
Okay, so you're going to go off to try to find that out after they receive the letter back and you realize he's had the change of heart. So that's what you're going to do for the afternoon, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what you find out shortly. What about the rest of you? Anything else you want to do now after seeing this letter from Mr. Jones, now inviting you to his house to discuss and share views on the matter?
I'm cleaning my revolver. I'm cleaning my revolver. We gotta go, but
that's your answer for everything.
You're a deeply suspicious man.
You don't want to get in a gunfight right now, Wilhelm. Miss Morrow isn't around to protect you.
Yeah, I'm saying, of course we have to go. You may have some information, but
yeah, and by this point in time, you have a little over 5 hours before you have to be there.
But Renaud, is there any way you can? But Renaud already went to do research on the guy, right?
Renard, he's going to.
Renard.
You could probably ask him something before he goes.
Right. See if you can do as much as you can. Do you need any help before we go?
It's best I go to these things by myself. These people don't tend to trust outsiders.
Okay, of course. Yes, if you can get back before we have to meet Mr. Jones, it would be appreciative.
Oh, yeah. You should be able to.
Okay.
As long as he doesn't get knifed in a dark alley somewhere.
Godspeed, Renaud. Godspeed, Renaud.
Did he invite us all, or just you particularly? Well,
we're all going. We're all going.
It was specifically addressed to Mr. Von Zorn, but yeah, you guys can go.
Yes, I'm assuming that was a +3 on that. So we're going.
What time of day is it right now?
Almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And the kid stays in college basically most of the day.
Yeah, he'll be out in a couple of hours probably.
Why don't we
Oh,
go?
no, he doesn't do tutoring, so yeah, maybe he'll be. Yeah, he's got a tutoring shift today. He'll be home. He'll be home probably around the same time that you're supposed to go to Mr. Jones' house.
So I pick up, Wilhelm, that you have some suspicions. I think I have some suspicions about Mr. Jones. He seems to have a strange disposition, right? And I'm wondering whether, now that we know his address, maybe we could go and stake out his place ahead of the meeting, see whether someone else interesting is paying him a visit.
Why don't we have, since he's already seen you and I, why don't we have, and I'm sorry, Rob, I keep forgetting your character's name.
Gerard.
Gerard go do that because, well, he knows our face already.
Yeah, I could maybe talk to some of the cabbies about his comings and goings recently as well.
Okay, I think that's an excellent idea.
Okay, so the two of you will go.
Yeah.
Which is great because that means you don't have to hire a cab, Gerard. You can ride with Walter.
Exactly, at a very reasonable rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. As far as like it's a small house in Eagle Street, and you would notice based on the address that he probably lives in one of the rooms, or maybe a couple of the rooms within the small house. He does not like own the house.
Uh-huh. Okay, so based on the street, can I try and hook up on the way there with, like, at a kind of hansom cab rank, if there are such things?
You catch up with some people around the area. I'm sure that even if there weren't ranks, although they probably did have them, but you would know the hangouts and stuff anyway, and you know where your friends go and stuff.
So does he have a reputation? Does he have the same sort of rep as the Colonel, or what's the skinny on him?
Let's see here. Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones.
Give me a luck roll.
Okay, luck. 60. I missed that by 6.
Okay.
So
you cannot spend luck on a luck roll. So
okay, and you can't push a luck roll.
No. Nobody really. They don't know much about him at all.
Okay.
In fact, when you mention his name, nobody seems to really know him by name. You kind of tell them the address. Like I guess, I don't know. There's a few people that live in those rooms there, but it doesn't sound familiar. No.
Okay.
Nobody seems to know anything, unfortunately.
Okay, so we ride over, pull up the cab around the corner, and find a spot for Gerard to scope the place out, or maybe we can walk up and down the street, or I'm not sure. It depends what it sort of looks like.
Yeah, I don't know what it looks like either, but yeah, I would say there's got to be. How will it know London, Seth?
Is there a newspaper seller on the corner farthest from where we are, where I could just walk down and buy a newspaper?
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Like a little stand where you can buy newspapers and maybe fresh fruit and stuff, or relatively fresh fruit.
Yeah, something like that, and then have the newspaper turn up in front of my face as I'm looking at his apartment, seeing who's coming and going. Something like this.
So you're going to scope out the house to see if there's any mysterious comings and goings, etc., anything that raises suspicion. And all that, I presume, yeah?
Yeah.
And you're going to just kind of stake out the place for the next, 4.5 hours or whatever before the meeting, or?
What do you think?
Well, I'm not sure what else we've got to do, really. The only other line that we had was the Army and Navy Club, and it feels like we're not going to get in there to have a substantive conversation. So I'm not sure what else we've got on our radar.
Very well.
Okay. Cool. Yep. So you guys will be sticking out. I'll let you know if anything suspicious happens before the meeting. And Renard, you go and asking your friends and your CD contacts to see what you can find out about Mr. Jones. And you will find out. Let's see here. Who has he been in contact with? Yeah. It takes you a couple of hours to find anybody who knows anything. Like most people don't even know this guy's name. No idea. You give them a description. No idea. Eventually, you come across a friend, an acquaintance, in fact, of the guy who did the Tibetan translations for you for the journal you guys got from that sorcerer. And he says, "Yeah. One of my friends was telling me there was some guy matches that description. Howard, was his name. He was looking for some assistance identifying and translating some markings on some black stone, some hieroglyphs of some sort. But none of my people knew anything about it. They couldn't identify it. Couldn't help him, unfortunately."
Could you describe it to me?
The guy. Well, it'll take a little bit more time. He has to go find the guy because he didn't see it himself. There's another guy who looked at it, and then to say, it was. It was obsidian black, about 1 foot across, about 8 inches high, a few inches thick, with a flat upper surface and rectangular or irregular sides. Sorry, irregular sides on it. The six rows, I think, of those hieroglyphs on the surface. About 10-ish symbols per row. They were about that big. Each was like about a half an inch in height, running along the long axis of the stone. But couldn't make out any language that I've ever seen or heard of. Definitely looked to be some kind of a written language, though. Could just be rubbish, though. Maybe just some cheap knockoff relic somebody's trying to sell to make some money.
Yes, this is quite possible. I know the market is flooded with fakes, but
he didn't offer to sell it to me, but maybe he was hoping I would make him an offer for it. Well, I ain't falling for anything like that.
About how long ago was this?
It was. Where's the thing here? I just was looking at it a second ago. About a week ago.
Very interesting. Well, you've been very helpful, my friend. And he'll palm him a couple of coins. First time.
All right. Well, be careful out there, Renard.
So it was and you take care of yourself, and he'll take his leave.
Sure. What about Von Zorn? What have you been doing?
He's been hanging out at the office, doing office things. I mean, he's not actually going. He's cleaning, getting weapons. Yeah. Right. There's stuff he has to write. So
cool. No problem. Then we will go to Carmichael and Morrow.
Bum, 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 bum.
So
Lost.
mid-afternoon, like probably say around 3 o'clock in the afternoon or so by the time you reach the village of Partridge. You had to hire a surrey to take you here from Abersionen, and it was 9 shillings each for that. Oh no, this is total cost 9 shillings. 9 shillings just to rent the cab, I guess. Yeah, so 9 shillings. When you arrive to Partridge, which is a little over an hour's ride from Abersionen, This is in the nestled in the valley of the Green of Vehan. Partridge has a population of only 400. Typical of the small villages in this area, seems to be populated mostly by farmers and sheep herders. You would definitely notice the a secluded 11th century church. It's probably the most prominent building in the village. You would also notice riding in, there's a smithy and stable, and the driver will drop you off in front of a pub called the Black Mountains Rest.
Does the pub have rooms to let?
Now, you want to go in?
I think we should.
Okay. No protests, Ruben, I presume?
You're muted.
Are you there, John?
Sorry, yeah, no protest whatsoever.
Okay, cool. No worries. So yeah, the Black Mountains Rest is a cozy, very rustic-looking place. There's only a handful of customers in here. The landlord is a thin, mutton chop whiskered chap who greets you as you walk in and says, "Hello, welcome."
Hello. We have some business we're going to be conducting in town, and we were wondering, do you have rooms for rent here? Or is there an inn somewhere near here?
He says, "Well, this is the only place in town." He says, "But yeah, I have a handful of rooms upstairs, and they're all empty currently. So you're more than welcome to one if you like."
Yes, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Sure. So business, you say, yeah?
Looking into a matter for we're with Hudson and Brand inquiry agents from London, and one of our clients asked us to look into something. His father, unfortunately, passed away recently while he was here, and we're just looking into that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What was his name?
She looks at Ruben.
Colonel. I'm in the dark. Hold on.
Okay.
Colonel Albert Hardwicke.
Yeah, Colonel Albert Hardwicke. Sorry, my lights were out.
Give me psychology rolls, both of you.
Very good. Stand by.
That's so sad. It's 25. 94. That's a big no.
I got a reasonably sounding 31, and his psychology is a 25. So I don't feel it's worth pushing, so I'm going to let it go.
Okay. Give me a listen roll as well, please.
Listen.
This is for something else.
I got a 27, and his listen roll is a 30. Okay, so I did make that.
How did Alice do?
Alice did not make it.
Okay. All right. Well, you notice after mentioning the colonel's name, Ruben, that the conversation that was going on amongst the handful of people inside the pub has stopped. Nobody is talking anymore in here except for you guys and the barman.
Such matters do tend to affect digestion. Perhaps I could buy a round for everyone.
Oh, surely that's unnecessary. So you're working for his son, was it?
Yes.
No.
I'm sorry. We've had a very long journey.
Give me another psychology roll.
Fail.
Jesus, Alice.
I know.
I failed by 3, but I'm going to pay it.
Okay.
I'm going to pay it forward.
Pick up a definite reaction of, well, it's either fear or revulsion in the barman's kind of body language. And neither one of you has to roll to notice that a couple of patrons put their pints down and leave the pub. He says, "Well, if you have any questions about the colonel's murder, I guess you'd have to talk to Constable Merrick, who lives down the lane. So those rooms, yeah. He names a price. Says you need two rooms or one.
Lady?
Two rooms, please.
He gives him a wink. 2 rooms for now.
She looks at you aghast.
Yeah.
He's just trying to break the tension.
He takes some of your coins and gives you a couple of keys. Says, well, he says, if you need anything else, just let me know. And he goes and walks over to the other side of the bar and tries to find something to do.
He slides over the appropriate coins that would represent his lost business before he leaves.
Give me a spot hidden roll as you're walking away.
Spot hidden.
Both of us, or
Yeah, both of you. Sure.
I have a very reasonable 28, and my spot hidden is a 60. So I actually got a very difficult.
A hard success, yeah.
Yeah, hard success.
amazingly, I
Succeeded at a roll.
yes, I succeeded at a roll. I was just
So you both notice as you're walking, the table isn't far away where the two customers had set down their mugs and left. The one of the pints is almost full and the other one is half full.
Remember, aim center mass. Aim center mass.
Well, yeah, I figured.
I always say aim for the pelvis, but anyway. Well, to the rooms.
Indeed.
And be cautious, be aware.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, the rooms are modest. You're small kind of country place out in the middle of nowhere.
First thing he's going to do is check the window. If it's on the appropriate side, see if he can see the men going down the street or waiting outside.
You'd see a few people moving around.
He's thinking of the guys that left.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you don't see them. They're long gone.
Very well. Yeah, he was going to take a different approach, but we roll with the punches.
Yes. Once unpacked and everything, Alice comes over and says, "I'm so sorry. In hindsight, would have been better to not actually be entirely forthcoming."
Well, it's one of those things. We either put all our cards on the table or we keep them hidden. In such a small community like this, I suspect some measure of honesty up front was probably going to be better to avoid undue suspicion. Now at least we know what to expect.
Yes, I think we've rather stepped in it, as it were, given the hasty departure of those two gentlemen.
Now, that's a small community. These things tend to upset the locals. It need not be nefarious.
Maybe not. So, do you want to go and talk to the constable?
Indeed. If you're settled, let's do so. Do you require any substance?
No, I'm full up on biscuits and jam.
Okay, so you guys will set out to go speak to the constable.
Agreed.
We lock our rooms.
If possible, yeah.
Yeah, he said we were.
Yeah, you got keys, so yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the old matchstick along the edge of the door, so if it's open, he'll know.
Okay. And so just down the lane from the public house, there is a small cottage with a wooden sign attached that reads Constable.
That's probably him.
So you knock on the door.
I'll let you take the lead from here on.
Indeed. Knocking on the door.
And the door opens, and you're met by a plump man who looks to be around 40. And he says, yes,
Constable.
yes.
I am Reuben Carmichael of Hudson and Brand Investigations, and we are looking into the unfortunate circumstance dealing with Colonel Hardwicke.
Yes, unfortunate business.
It is. I'm sorry
Did
to
you
bother
bring
you.
me some information?
I was hoping to gather the information that you had, actually.
I'm not in any place to discuss the details of the Colonel's murder.
Would you prefer an office, sir? Would you make an appointment?
Nope, don't have any time for appointments. I merely uphold the law. The murder of the Hardwicke man is the business of the constabulary and no one else. You'll have to find your dirt somewhere else. Roll a spot hidden check.
Spot hidden. 48. Normal success.
Yeah, you see there's two young children who look to be twins now staring silently at you, kind of from behind him a little bit, from under his arm. Now, if that'll be all, I'll return to my family.
Indeed. Sorry for
Door in
bothering
your face while you're in the middle of your sentence.
you. All right.
And
Well, at least they're friendly.
Folksy. I would say they're folksy.
And unfortunately, that's all the time I have tonight.
Colchy. Yes.
Because I'm actually playing a game in about 10 minutes.
Very good.
But thank you all for playing. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to Daear. Daear? Yeah, I probably pronounced it wrong again. But we'll definitely pick this up again in 2 weeks, same time. Hopefully you will all be able to make it. If not, we'll work it out though. We'll figure something out. So,
Aye. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.
You too, guys. Have a good
Great
one.
stuff. Yeah.
I would guess based on how far we got through this session. Yeah, I'm going to guess it's going to take maybe 2 more sessions. Maybe 1. We might do it in 1, but it could take 2. See how it
Okey-dokey.
Okay, cool.
I don't like to rush things. So thanks for
Yeah.
playing. Thanks also for
Right.
watching.
Right.
Thank you, Ian.
And yeah.
Thank you for running.